that was just like straight up like furry porn.
Oh my.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like I looked it up before the call. That's why I was having trouble saying now. It's like I had to jump out of bed when I saw the call. But I was looking it up and I saw several scenes referencing homosexuality. It's like being quote unquote straight for 5 minutes, all that kind of crap. And then there's a video of a strip dance and several gore scenes. I'm like, how much of this? At what point? Because one of my favorite movies from I think it's Disney is Robin Hood, and how all of these the story of Robin Hood is told through animals, and the fact and the choice of animals adds to the story. Where here I'm thinking, okay, you already have animals, but they're dressed as humans, they act like humans. The only thing that really adds a sense of differency, adds a level of complexity to the narrative, and utilize them being animals, is when sometimes they become quote-unquote beasts, by going wild or whatever. Alright, great, if you enjoy that kind of stuff, not my thing.
Yeah. All right. We have to eventually watch one of these episodes to find out what it's all about, but I read enough synopses to find out that it is very, very theme heavy. So anyway, let's get into it.
What happens if the herbivores become wild? Do they just go retarded, just start eating grass and shit?
They start smoking the grass, yeah. Anyway, let's get going. Hey guys, good afternoon. Welcome to Smudcast number 506. Beastars is political. Deal with it. I think it was always political. The manga was always this way. The anime was always this way. I could list all the themes of each episode. They have different episodes that have different themes. It focuses around the events of high school life, I believe, as typical manga anime does. But they have things like racial issues, police violence, corruption in politics, autism, like all kinds of issues. It's kind of a really crazy watching experience. And maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I haven't seen it. I don't know. It's not my thing. We were just talking about that beforehand, how these sort of animation styles and quality of writing, it's not really our thing. The 3D style is not really my thing either. It could be. If I watch one, I might like it. But as I've read, it doesn't feel like it. I'll give it a shot just to say I gave it a shot. But let's find out. Let's check out this video. It's from Bonsai Pop. Came out 2 years ago in March. And it's got about 225-ish thousand views. And oddly enough, it has 15,000 upvotes and 2,000 downvotes roughly. I don't know what's the big deal, because there is anime and manga for everyone. And if indeed this is one of those shows that just loads it up on commentary, I mean, maybe that's for you. There's nothing wrong with watching an anthropomized version of high school in Japan or wherever this takes place in, which has all kinds of crazy things going on being addressed. I would prefer it's more plot related, but I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I can't say. Either way, this is 20 minutes long, so it will take some time to go through.
My immediate suspicion is that the like or dislike to like counter is probably because he insults the viewer. That would be my immediate suspicion.
Oh boy, that's never a good line. Okay.
I have watched half of this video and well, I'm not gonna spoil it.
Okay.
Just go ahead.
All right, let's get
It's
going.
gonna be a wild ride.
Okay, here's Chad. Thank you for the donation. Such and such is such and such. Deal with it. No. See, this is like we don't care. Like none of us have seen it, and it's not like fine. I've watched it. I don't care. I don't have to deal with anything. It's not bothering me. There's no hoopla. I'm not offended by anything. It's one of those non-issues, but because some people think they have to argue in the face of people saying, not everything is political. They say, no, everything is political. It's like, well, no. There's plenty of pieces of media out there that have nothing to do with controlling your populace or what is the best form of government and all this other nonsense. So I don't see what the big deal is. But maybe this person is doing their soapbox, where they want to get those brownie points from all the left-leaning ideologues. It's possible. It's possible. All art is political. It's like, no, not really. Could be whatever the artist wants it to be. Anyway, let's get started.
A wolf in sheep's clothing. This, ironically, is the best way to encompass exactly what Beastars is. It has all the wrong things going for it. It's a 3D anime, it's on Netflix, and most importantly, it's about anthropomorphic talking animals. But beneath its profoundly strange wrapping are some savage fangs, and I'm not talking about your average, this anime is better than you think because it's actually really brutal. While Beastars does get there, superseding its violence is its over-the-lethal dose of incredibly impactful and relatable social commentary. Beastars works in the themes of discrimination based on birth, specifically regarding your carnivore and herbivore status, at least within the...
Oh, apologies. Had to my... Okay, immediately. What is this song choice?
Yeah, is it... I thought it was Danganronpa or something crazy.
It sounds like Mortal Kombat music.
Yeah, something upbeat.
It doesn't sound like an arcade music.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's the soundtrack of the show, so this stream will be taken down.
Yeah, if it's a well-known piece of hip hop, I'm screwed. This whole thing's gonna go poof. Anyway.
Yeah, so far, that was just the immediate thing that stood out to me. It's just, damn.
Yeah,
that's an interesting song choice.
A lot of YouTubers put music in their background. They always do it. It's not a big deal. As long as it doesn't interfere with the actual thing they're saying, I can hear them, and it's not distracting, I'm okay.
World of the anime, but it gets broken down even further by species. Instead of trying to prove stereotypes or birth status wrong.
See, this looks really weird to me. I mean, it's not unattractive. It just looks weird. Like, these are girls. I'm like, all right.
Yes.
They have the spine of a human and the hands of a human, but their face and their skin, it's all like completely different. You're like, all right.
Because they are furries. The creator herself is a furry.
Oh, God.
Have you guys seen the Renaissance depictions of the Minotaur?
Yes, no. I have, yes.
This is giving me those vibes, where the entire body is human except for the head.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to look off-putting.
Yeah, it is. It is a bit because it's if it was drawn, I'd have no problem because they could do some fun, goofy stuff with like super deformity or lighthearted scenes where it's like, oh, it's kind of cute. They could do it with eyes, but this is like 3D, so it's supposed to look exactly the way they made it, and because it's like you're putting eyeballs on like human eyeballs on these animals, and you're like, that doesn't look quite right to me. There's this weird little element of the uncanny valley, which is throwing me off there. So it's not that off-putting, but it's still like a little weird to look at.
Gio wishes to be on the panel.
Gio, where's Gio? Let's put him on.
Oh, the resident furry.
Yes, our local furry expert. Here we go. Gotta get our
awaken furry.
Awaken our furry friend. Hey, how's it going, Gio?
Awaken my furry.
I arise. No.
Have you actually watched this show at all?
I have watched both seasons and read the entire manga, plus her spin-off.
It was a rhetorical question.
Well, no, I'm saying I really do know about this.
It was sarcasm. You can go ahead.
All right. Let's continue. Are you in the watch together yet? We'll play when you get in. So.
Also, if you hear like a whining noise behind me, it's a 3D printer going.
All right.
Oh, nice. What are you printing?
A gun. Tell me it's a gun.
No. Right now, I'm testing a glow-in-the-dark filament. I'm printing a red-eyed skink
for your gun. Okay.
That's your red dot side.
Anyway, yeah. Alrighty, let's go.
works in a realm where what you were born as is just as, if not more important than who you want to be. And that mantra warps the minds of every single character that you deal with in ways that hit home on an incredibly human level. This show took me on a wild ride going in blind with no idea what to expect. It made me think, it made me feel, and most disturbingly gave me an attraction to the hottest rabbit since Lola Bunny. Let's just say there's definitely a certain demographic of people that Beastars will appeal to for more nefarious reasons, but trust me, it's not all about that. Let's get into it.
You know, I think that could have been Persona music. I don't remember, but it's possible. But anyway, let's keep going.
I hate these noises.
Beastars opens up with the brutal murder of an alpaca named Tem. He's devoured by a mysterious assailant who was killed after school. And
Wow, so cannibalism. That's fantastic. Good stuff.
Well,
Yeah,
is it cannibalism if they're different species?
Well, they're treating people, they're treating everyone as a person, regardless of their race. So,
No, in the series, in the world, predation of prey animals is still an issue that happens, and it's considered just a crime like murder.
oh, okay, fair enough.
And it's heavily frowned upon. Like, if you do it, you get ostracized to... You go to jail, or you get ostracized to the edges of civilization. They don't tolerate predation.
All right.
So, like, the first major arc of the series is a murder mystery to figure out who killed Tem.
Cool. That's always fun.
So,
Here is Porcelinus the Fourth. Hey, how's it going? Animals being a metaphor for humans really doesn't work. The distinction between carnivore and herbivore in the food chain aren't socially constructed like race hierarchies are. A wolf has to eat a deer. If it doesn't, it'll die. Do they at least say there's other ways of survival outside of eating a deer?
Soy.
yeah,
They have soy food.
Oh, okay.
yeah. Most prey predator species get either soy, or they eat eggs,
Okay.
or like insect based stuff. They don't eat. It's kind of like with Zootopia. They get their protein from other sources.
Right.
Of course, because bugs aren't conscious.
Why am I reminded of the one line from Futurama?
Well, it's not too
We
different.
got a line to eat soy.
Yeah, it's not too different than when we talk about contemporary settings with monsters in them, where they have to explain, well, this is our diet. And it's usually attractive monsters or monsters that are so friendly that even if they are big, scary, whatever, it's just like, oh, they're normal, they're domesticated, or they get along with humans no problem. And that's in a lot of manga. So,
Like, what was it? It was in Revenge of Healer, if you remember that series.
sure.
I do.
Or Redo of Healer, sorry, Redo of Healer. They go to a town that's populated with both humans and demons. And the demons need to feed off blood to survive. And the humans willingly give it to the demons because the demons provide protection.
Yeah, and
the entire town revolves around this. Like, the humans are willingly, like, they're like, yes, we want you to protect us, so here's some blood from every person.
Yeah, there's a symbiosis.
Like,
there's a symbiosis. There's a peace. There's no one's at war. Yes, there's little problems, but that's never the focus of the narrative. It's just, oh yeah, here's the setting. This is explaining how we get along. Now get on with the actual plot, as opposed to, oh, you got to feed your demons blood, and there's a weekly sacrifice. Holy shit, that's crazy, and we got to deal with that. So there's a little nuance to having fun in a manga, as opposed to, let's just have a bunch of issues. Let's have a murder. Let's have people eating each other, and they're human or they're animals, so it's technically okay, but socially incorrect, and all these other factors involved, which could be entertaining for some people. I would rather just have a normal murder mystery and focus on the nuances of who done it, as opposed to, oh, he ate a lamb human. Oh, well, who did that? It must have been a carnivore. And then it turns out it's not a carnivore. Like, ooh, could be fun, could be interesting, but I don't know. I think I've seen enough murder mysteries to know what I like. Either way.
The interesting part about the example of Redo of Healer is that town he mentions, that Gio mentions, the entire town is set up as one of the only, some quote-unquote, good parts of the world, where everywhere else is Game of Thrones on crack. And this one part is like, okay, this is somewhat decent place to go. Like, this isn't the worst place I've ever been on planet Earth.
Right.
And then they immediately get butchered, like a chapter,
Well, yeah, because the villains are purposely trying to create war, so they purposely attack this town.
Yeah, so they want to have the plot be the focus, meaning the revenge theme that the main character is in needs to give all this obvious answer to the audience. Oh yeah, these guys are bad. And you go over there, they're still bad. You go over there, they're still like they're always bad. And you have to sell that to the audience, so it's like, yeah, this guy is totally justified in killing all these other dudes. So that happens in almost every revenge plot I've read in manga, where the bad guy is like
not even just revenge plots, just like Goblin Slayer is a perfect example.
Oh god, yeah.
They show you exactly why the Slayer hates goblins, and he does what he does very quickly, and people were, the left was very upset about that.
Right.
I do find it funny that I have not seen nearly as much uproar about a manga about a guy that actually partakes in raping and brainwashing of underage girls as one about a brave warrior killing monsters and saving people.
Redo of Healer never got a dub. It's only sub.
Yeah.
So
normies never touched it. Okay.
Yes, that's the same. It's the same reason why. What was it? The Beast the Beast Harem anime.
Oh, Monster Musume.
Yeah, like the one that got pulled from Funimation after like one episode because it was like going around to different brothels. Yeah.
Oh, that
species reviewers.
Oh, that was amazing.
That one that got pulled from Funimation. Like it still was subbed. It was just never dubbed because the leftists said Funimation got butthurt.
There are so many good.
They said they had no idea what kind of show it is. They just dubbed it.
They used that. Yeah, 4Kids used that same excuse about One Piece when they first launched it, not realizing that there's guns in a pirate anime that didn't fly then. It doesn't fly now.
That is very interesting. Is that the only thing keeping the hordes away from a show is a dub or a sub. That's very interesting.
It was charming to see these stories that have these, I wouldn't say completely mature themes. Like obviously a red light district in a story is for a mature audience, but they treat it in such a way where it's part of the society. And it's like, this is normal. Like this behavior is normal. And it's not like disgusting. It's weird because like an elf loves a really old elf woman or an old human female because she's old. Like he likes the fact she's old. It's like, that's weird, but it's not gross. It's not like, oh, this is perverted.
The most recent season of Demon Slayer, the entirety of the show, the entirety of the season takes place in a red light district in like the historical red light district of Japan. And it's just the setting. There's brothel houses, but you don't see anything happening.
Right. And I
was going to say
it's.
Yeah, in interspecies reviewers, it was censored. The ones that I watched.
Oh yeah, of course. So there's an uncensored version. Trust me, there's an uncensored version. Same with Redo of Healer. Yeah. There's a censored and an uncensored version. But I get, and also the reason why Redo of Healer never got a dub, it's because it's a dude doing it. If it was a female main character, they would have pushed that hard. It's him getting revenge on the worst people in the world.
Right.
Like that just ruined this person. Like. He absolutely, everything he's doing to these people is absolutely deserved for what they did to him.
Yeah.
So it's a revenge story, but the revenge is absolutely deserved for every person in that story.
Yeah, you have to give sympathy to the protagonist. I mean, you could just start off where he just starts murdering people, and you're like, "What the hell?" And then you have to tell a backstory of how that came about. That's one way of doing it, but they just show the horrors first off, and then they rewind, and now he's starting again from scratch, and he knows what to do. He starts brainwashing people and all that stuff.
It's
good.
It's
our hero.
Redo of Healer.
Redo of Healer. Yeah, it literally starts with them at the end boss fight, him getting the ability to rewind time, setting up it so that way his previous self is remembers everything that happens to him, so then he can plan ahead for the future.
Right.
And his ability is he figured out that through healing, he can steal people's knowledge and techniques. So he gets all his abilities by healing people. He figured out how to... It's kind of like the My Hero Academia logic, where a not very impressive power can be very impressive if you learn, like, really weird ways of applying that power. And he figured that out through redoing things constantly.
It hasn't suffered from power creep yet, at least in the manga, but you can't just keep using it over and over again where he just keeps getting all these abilities and all these skills. But it's fine as a revenge story. It's not going to go so long, I hope, and it'll have a nice little bow at the end, hopefully. But anyway.
Yeah, I think what's keeping it from the power creep is that he only takes powers from the people he needs. He doesn't just randomly take things. Because he respects most people. He just does not respect the people who wronged him. And he's not out to get everyone. He's only out to get the people who wronged him, which is very important.
The mind control is probably the worst part, but it makes sense. It's not...
Yes. Once again, it's someone who wronged him and he's getting revenge on. It's not just some random person that he did this to.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, back to Beastars.
Yes, an alpaca attends school. Beastars is really weird. Cherryton Academy is your atypical anime Japanese high school, except it's attended by animal people, and not in an ironic way. This is taken extremely seriously in the show. It's not funny that there's bears and tigers mingled.
See, this is why I have a problem. It's not as fun as it could be. This could have so many great ways of, like, how would you have relay races? How would you do high jump for, like, giraffes and stuff? Like, all kinds of fun stuff. You could, but they never do that. It's just a bunch of people who look...
because all the characters of this, while they're at school anyway, they're all in a drama club. That's the main group of characters. They're not in, like, sports or other things. Like Legoshi is he's one of the largest species there, and he constantly doesn't want to be in the limelight, even though he's very hard to miss. And he's a very shy character is what he is. But then he gets thrust into having to deal with, like, finding out who killed Tem, because Tem was one of his good friends.
Oh yeah, but that's the mature element's fine. But if you're not going to have fun with this sort of setting, and you're trying to be like, look at all these faces, they're all like, no smiles. Everyone's just like,
well, because this is also after a very serious, like, accident just happened, so they're all very
right.
Like, the herbivores are wary of the predators at this moment, because this is literally right after the news that Tem was killed.
Right, but compare that.
So, like, this.
Compare that to other shows that have that same theme, like in Baccano, where it's...
Well, it does have goofy moments at times, especially once the murder mystery is solved. Especially once Legoshi starts having to be an adult and interacting with the rest of the world. It does have a bit more goofy times.
Okay.
But for the first, like, major arc, it takes itself more seriously. It does get goofier.
I compare it to Baccano because Baccano has so many different elements, like telling the story backwards, immortality, music is really good. The setting is really cool. Everyone's kind of like a weird mob boss follower person. There's a murderer who's a psychopath running around. There's some contract with the demon. Like it's just so, like, fun that
it's already like a good premise that it doesn't play in the Japanese school.
Yeah,
I hate those.
That's a good point. Yeah, there's no high school drama setting.
Why is with Japanese people and this, like,
high school is their equivalent of college. That's why.
Oh, why?
I was gonna say, Americans who talk about Japanese being obsessed with high school, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no, it's literally equivalent, because, like, when you don't just go to your local high school, you can go to high school across the country in Japan. Like, it is literally...
You can do that in Europe as well, by the way.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, you actually have to apply for high school. It's not just you just go. It's the equivalent. It's like going to college in the States or in the West.
Well, I mean, it's funny that the whole, Americans bitch about high school and Japanese stories. Funny, since they won't shut the fuck up about prom in their stories.
That was what I was gonna bring up. Is that both of you have dirty laundry. Stop pointing at each other.
Oh, I don't complain about it on either side because I know why both sides do it. So it's just a case. It's the people who just don't like Japanese stuff in general that complain about it.
True.
All right.
No,
Hey,
I
this-
complain about it anyway. If I see like a high school setting and that's like the main point, like the main area of interest, I just like fuck this show. Except if it's Cromartie High School, that is a good show
For me,
because it has Freddie Mercury as one of the members.
For me, it has less to do with the setting. It has more to do with the story as being told. For example, one of my favorite stories, just of all time, is Stalker, the movie. It is the adaptation of Roadside Picnic.
Right.
That one takes place in a mostly empty field, like factories, like abandoned houses. There's nothing of note. But what's really interesting is the character conversation that happens as a result of going around that environment. Where in high school and some such, you kind of know where things are going to be going, so you have set expectations, you have very easy plot points and plot beats to follow, which can help especially amateur writers to go along. So I think that tends to be why it so often takes place in high school, is that it's just easier to do than say, alright, take your characters of your dopey boyfriend and dopey girlfriend and then throw them inside the zone. How the fuck are you gonna do that?
Yeah, people would, if they would actually make the Roadside Picnic novella into a live action miniseries, like a 4-part miniseries, that could work. But people would be like, what is this? What is my watching? Because it's so strange. But it's so good. Like, it's 4 little short stories, I think, of the same setting over time. And it's one of my favorite science fiction. I thought it is my favorite science fiction book that I've read. It's so unique and weird. But either way, anyway, let's get back to the serious story of Beastars.
Yes.
With giraffes. That's the way the world is in Harryton. Sheep and wolves attend clubs together, which brings up the first and most compelling issue of the series, food. Now, there isn't any talking vegetables, so the herbivorous students are...
This is an ongoing joke with LitDev. All these left-leaning writers, I'm not necessarily these guys, but they always talk about food. It's always a topic of like, oh, this is person, she's chomping on this pizza, or she ordered some food, or she's making food. I don't know why, but that's fine. It's probably not a big deal.
Yeah, it's kind of
Actually-
like a big thing for like the West comic book writers. They just want to like place these like bigger names in like the restaurant, and they just eat. They're not really like discussing any thing of importance. They just like do it because like how funny it is. Oh, hey, look, it's Captain America eating pizza with Spider-Man. Hilarious.
It's them trying to be relatable.
I know, but
Yeah.
look at
These
this
people
dish.
not understanding how to do that, and so they
Like,
go, "Oh, they're just going to be sitting in a restaurant eating food. That's relatable, right?"
Well,
I think like, I saw it at LitDev stream, and I posted it as a meme. Like Samurai Champloo also does like this food scenes as well, but it's related to the plot itself. Like they are like discussing the food itself. That like, oh look, it's very European style food. So like you need to like put this in boiling water so you can have it fresh
right. And in this
and
case,
ready to eat.
this dude's eating 2 donuts. It looks like some fruit salad or something, and soy milk, which is a strange, very strange meal.
It's because the point of this scene is showing how
How much torture they have to go through.
how the predators have to deal with their eating, because
Right.
the predators are a minority in this universe, just like with Zootopia. They're
Right.
an absolute minority. They are not, the herbivores are by far the majority of civilization. So the herbivores set the rules on what basically set the rules more often than not on how things are done.
Also,
This show is like really based. Like it's telling that like, soy food is garbage and democracy is the bane of existence. Like, I mean, how much more based can you be?
I was gonna say, in reference to focusing on food, something I've noticed that anime does a lot is that food helps you relate to a character a lot easier than almost anything else you can have a character do.
Yeah.
Like just having character, for example, Kaiji, if anyone has seen that one, Ultimate Survivor, the first time he has a proper meal and you just see him happy, that is probably one of the best parts of the entire show, because you just see what makes this guy happy, and it's just being able to eat like meat on a stick or meat on a spear, and that's what makes him just bawl his eyes out. You're like, oh, so that's what gets this character happy. That's what he enjoys, and then downing it with a cold beer. Neat. I think that's what they're going for, but because they don't understand what it is that makes you relate to a character based on the food, they just have it there for way too long, to the point where you're just like, okay, at this point it's just food porn, like George R. R. Martin. All his stuff is food porn. It blasts past the point of, oh yeah, I get what this character's about, I get what they like, to, okay, you can stop talking about this sizzling of this steak now. Please.
Yeah, it happens a lot in fantasy as well. Tolkien does a little bit of it, but it's mostly like, okay, this is the daily events, because he's so detailed and it's so long for each scene. But even Terry Brooks does that with, I don't know if he's very creative in the kitchen, but he's always talking about hot bread. We just made some hot bread and we cooked it on the fire. And you're like, okay, what is up with you and hot? Like, is someone like carrying like a sack of wheat? Where do they go? And they're like plowing, they're like making powder.
I would love that. Like, I would love to see that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I got some wheat here. Let's make some bread. It's like, dude, you're traveling light. How did this happen? So it's kind of strange, but you know, they try to humanize these characters, and you're like, they want to make it realistic enough that they have to have a meal and it has to be hot. And what do? You have fresh bread. You're like, okay, I guess, but he just keeps doing it. It's silly.
With George R. R. Martin, I think it's just he suffers from over describing things to a ridiculous degree.
Yeah, but same with Tolkien.
Yes.
Any fantasy writer tends to do that anyway. So if you don't,
there's you can take it to, like, Tolkien's a good balance of it. George takes it a little too far. Like, there's a reason people kind of poke fun at him for how verbose he is, when there's no need to be as verbose as he is in his books.
Yeah. Well, or verbose about things that don't matter.
There is an entire page there's an entire chapter dedicated to describing a character's penis.
Yeah.
I don't think we need that kind of verbose descriptions of a character. But in specific to George R. R. Martin, The Hobbit has an excellent scene in the opening when they're describing the pantry, where Bilbo goes into all these descriptions and how he explains how much he loves food and what his favorite dishes are, because the entire thing is setting up the fact that the dwarves are about to raid his entire pantry. It's all a setup for a big old joke.
Okay, let's get on with it.
With their salads, but for the obligate carnivores, a problem is presented. In this world, it's illegal to eat meat. Eggs are fine though, which is kind of super gross if you think about them coming from an educated sentient chicken. But when all the meat on the planet belongs to the bodies of intelligent creatures with rights and families and futures and careers, it makes sense that it would be illegal to consume it. So instead of—
So wait, they don't have farms?
Seemingly no.
No, it's not like
BoJack
where they would just make, completely sentient people. They just drug them out so they don't know any better.
So they don't have any.
BoJack does that.
They don't have any farms for cattle or whatever.
Nope.
Well, all of them are sentient, so of course.
I am confused.
There's no humans. Humans don't exist.
Yeah,
it's just animal people.
Yeah, but there's no normal animals lying around.
Nope.
All right,
the closest we get are insects.
You just lost me. Holy shit.
How did these survive for like the millions of years to get to this point?
Predation used to be a thing, and then it no longer was.
So like, how many years have passed since like these animals have like decided to like join together?
A couple thousand years. Like they do show the history later on in the series. They just haven't gotten that far in the anime. In the manga, they do explain it.
All right, this is not believable.
Yes.
This is quite a weird rendition of George Orwell's Animal Farm, but I'm
Oh god, yeah.
George Orwell's Beastars.
I was gonna say,
finally, I can tell my story as it was meant to be told.
I was gonna say, how do the bees work in this universe?
Insects are one of the few things that are still like normal animals.
Oh god. Anyway.
All right, so at least they covered those off, so we don't have to have. Oh god, that would make the story of the birds and the bees very different.
Yeah, do they have fish at least? Like,
yes, but sea creatures have a different view of how life works. It's basically they understand that they're going to get eaten, so they just don't care.
So they're sentient fish who know they're going to die.
Yes.
Wow.
And
That's horrifying.
Legoshi has a neighbor later on that's a seal, and he explains the oceans. Like the ocean has an entire different like way of thinking of how life is. Yes, they do go into it. Like I said, they do. She does try the mangaka. She does try to explain her world more than just it's funny animal people. Like she actually put some thought into how. Now it doesn't always like you still have to go like, okay, that's just how this world works. But it's not just don't think about it.
I was gonna say I don't want to think about meat being outlawed and being illegal, and that being a major plot point. Was also fish just have to accept they're gonna be on the menu.
Oh no, but fish are not a like that's a thing within the ocean. The land civilization doesn't like they don't eat fish either because they still see that as predation. So
okay, but let's just think of this logically. If you had a second version of humans which ate other humans, and there were no farms for them to like, eat off that properly, like a large amount of like cattle or pigs or whatever, there would be a war. There would be multiple world wars eradicating the predators or trying to eradicate the predators. Because
World War meats.
Whatever. Yeah, no, this would have been sorted out hundreds, if not thousands of years ago. But okay, whatever, that's fine.
What if like some animals get stuck like in a building that's on fire? Are they gonna call it the barbecue?
Yeah. Oh well.
It's kind of explained as when herbivores and predators like fully met and started like interacting with each other. It was the predators wanted to protect the herbivores from others more so than, and that's kind of how the two societies formed into one in the history of this world.
Okay.
But how does she?
And so like there's other issues that happen, but it's like predation is frowned on. Eating others is frowned on.
Not the most believable scenario. That's fine. It's not a big deal.
As long as the narrative can carry on without any issues, as I mentioned, like if there was like, oh yeah, fish are fine, but other meats, no, and that was a major plot point, I would have an issue with it.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. The issue here is they're trying to play it very serious, and if you can't explain how society even is stable without having farm, I'm like, wow, okay, we're worried about a murder plot where the entire civilization could crumble at any second because there's no food. So, all right, fair enough.
They have like farms for like vegetables and stuff like that, but they don't have like meat farms.
You are one argument away from eating your neighbor because you don't have enough food for tomorrow. Like that's.
Well, when you put it like that, you make it sound all fragile.
Yeah, like the entire civilization is about to collapse.
Here's the thing that is also that does come up later. Just right now because they're all in school, so they're all, teenagers. None of them think about any of this. None of the main characters really think about it with any.
He's checking up on his lizard.
All right.
No, the printer started going ballistic. Sorry.
Right.
They don't really think about it in any like serious way because they don't have to, because they're not adults. They don't have to live in the real world, quote unquote, of their society yet.
All right. Okay. Let's keep going. Porcelain is the fourth again. Thank you, sir. In this world of you want to get whole milk, you have to befriend the cow kid, seduce his mom, and suck on her teeth.
I don't like where this is going.
It's dirty business, so the whole milk in this world is for those willing to boldly go where no man has gone before. Is that actually lore specific? Like that actually is a part of the story where you have to?
Not that I'm aware. Like even cows, like they don't It's mostly soy milk. They don't really use actual milk.
Yeah.
I like that Gio had to take like half a second to go, I don't think that's real. Haven't you read the damn thing?
Yeah, that's one thing, but he has to admit it, so.
Animal milk, they have eggs from chickens, which are, anthropomorphic chickens, right? So
yes, that's a whole chapter where it's just a chicken who's very proud of the fact that she lays good eggs.
Yeah, so I'm assuming it's the same with cows, but
so chickens make a business out of it, but not the cows. Okay.
Yeah.
But what do the dolphins do in this universe?
Well, you don't.
No.
The porpoises get killed. Anyway, that's fine. There's all these holes. We don't care. It's fine. Let's just go.
Feeding other citizens, the carnivores receive their protein from soy and other supplements, and for most, it's their goal to coexist peacefully with others in society, which is where Legoshi comes in, a gray wolf with a major personality complex. Now, wolves are big, heavy canines whose killing power outweighs even their oversized bodies, and while they can digest plants, they eat meat above all else. The society Legoshi lives in demands repression of his predatory instinct, causing him to fear the feelings that naturally come with being a wolf, the hunger that naturally comes from being a carnivore. This dichotomy in nature versus behavior is constantly symbolized by close-ups on Legoshi's massive hands, natural killing machines that contrast his incredibly submissive attitude. He's meek and mild, mostly observant, and tries to appease his herbivorous co-eds, and his primary role is to serve as the audience look into a life of privilege, specifically someone who constantly feels guilty about it. And not only is that something that is rarely spoken about, but it's something that I think a lot of people can relate to. In the world of Beastars, despite law and order, herbivores live with the knowledge that they are and will always be prey, that there's little they can do to protect themselves if a carnivore loses their grip, and that seems to happen quite a lot. Small animals like mice and squirrels are treated like they're incapable or a joke, and even worse is a constant struggle for supremacy. There's factions on all sides vying for power, those who want to cull the carnivores, those who want unity, and those who want carnivore supremacy. The world...
Hey, so the carnivore supremacy thing, that's a mafia.
I was about to say that guy does not.
Yes, they're not. That was okay, and also they, especially in the school, all the students are encouraged to get along with each other and help one another out. So the predators obviously are going to, even the herbivores, they help out the smaller students all the time. It's not just they're not looked down upon. They're like, oh hey, you're short, you're small, let me pick you up so you can get to where you need to go easier. It's not like they're just being polite. That's all it is. They're not looking down on the other students.
I was gonna say that did not look like a guy that looked down on the kid. It looked like a character that just looked down and saw a small creature he was about to murder and went, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Yeah, and with the lion sitting there. He's the second in command to a Japanese mafia group, basically.
Yeah, not the most practical way of going to school when your schoolmates come up to your ankle. A little dangerous.
Yeah, they and yes, herbivores do have that constant fear, but they say that's also a byproduct of just their nature, where they're constantly worried about it. It's not that they're constantly worried every day because that's just a threat. And also, Legoshi isn't privileged.
That was the one I was.
He's not.
So the entire concept, as far basically going purely off of your information so far, Gio, the predators are first off a minority, correct?
Yes, it kind of mimics like the whole real life thing where predators are technically a minority of the species, and the prey animals are the majority.
All right, and they live in a world where it is illegal to eat people.
Yes.
All right. How in the and he's not given any exceptions. Like he's being fed soy milk and soy products, correct?
That is a privilege in his eyes. And he's about to go to his point. It's gonna be so dumb that I will like wish like all of you to brace yourselves, because you're gonna go to hospital after this.
It is a privilege to drink shitty milk.
Yeah,
All right.
privilege.
I was
Such a
gonna
privilege.
before
And
we
like again, the whole thing that like predator species want to eat meat, that is a plot thread in the series too. That's not just left behind. Like it is talked about in like how predators have that need and want to eat meat. There's an entire black market which the mafia runs. That is a whole plot thread.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this sounds not like privilege. This sounds like you're basically the minority of minorities stuck surrounded by people where he's a special needs kid. He's the extremely powerful special needs kid that might just flip out because he's hungry. That's not Okay, I have been in classes with people like this. This is not a privilege. This is torture.
All right.
Legoshi's whole thing is he just wants to be left alone and not have to like be the center of attention. But he keeps being made the center of attention, and he doesn't like it.
It's kind of like a metaphor, like how vegans are obnoxious.
I was gonna say, this seems so divorced from reality, like from current issues that would ever come up. That'd be very curious. As I said, that's the closest thing I think of is like special needs kids. And I don't think that's even close to where the mangaka was going. So I'll be very interested to see what his actual point is gonna be.
All right.
Well, none of these left. I'm assuming this guy's left wing. Like none of these left wing people can actually like understand what Japanese mangaka are saying. They always add in all this really stupid nonsense.
I mean, like the creator of Bucky, and like that's his her father is definitely left leaning. I have seen like his work, so it's very likely that she's also. But I doubt like any of like what this dude is like talking about is gonna be like the message of the show.
Alrighty, I'm gonna read a donation from Mike Oxlong. Hey, Mike. So the show's main characters is a soft beta male with a white guilt complex. Damn, no wonder white lefties love this show. Also, in right behind Porcelinus, that cow kid better hide his mom from me.
Oh no!
It's not that Legoshi's a beta. He just recognizes how strong he is, and begrudges the fact that he's so strong when he doesn't want to be as big or strong as he is. Like it's more that he just he basically wants to be a prey species and just to be left alone and not have to worry about hurting someone accidentally.
All right.
That's his he doesn't like the fact that he's so big. It's not that he doesn't like the fact that he's a predator. It's that he doesn't like that he's so big and overtly strong.
Alrighty. Okay. 4 minutes in. Taking a while, but let's continue.
Social order that has been constructed for extremely different people to exist in together hangs in a fragile balance. It's essentially taped together with nothing but a promise of coexistence, but things always unavoidably slip through the cracks, making this world exactly like ours. And I just gotta put this out there, if you think white and or male privilege is a myth, you're going to completely miss one of the main themes of Beastars.
Wait, whoa.
Oh my god.
It is a myth.
I told you.
Wait. Who's the white guy in Beastars that is privileged?
The wolf.
Who's the white one here? The bunny or the wolf? It's not the wolf.
The wolf who has these hunger pains and he doesn't know how to control himself. Oh my! Are you what?
He's about to explain it. It's gonna be
this is so fun.
It's gonna be really retarded.
I don't know how to react to this before I've heard the entire point because I will explode into rage or laughter.
Also, is this a drawing? Is this 2D? Because like it's.
No, it's 3D with a really interesting 2D shader. Like I want to. It's fully 3D. The anime is fully 3D and it doesn't look awful. Like the animation has proper weight to it when everyone's moving around and there are some fight scenes. And like it's trying to mimic the artist's style, which is even like more fugly than the anime. The anime cleaned it up a lot. Like the Beastars manga it has its own unique style. I will say that. Like
Kind
but
of like Attack on Titan. I feel like that also, like the manga
Yes.
looks like, well,
yes.
his first book.
But also like a lot of the Legoshi just reaction scenes are made even better just because of his goofy look in the manga, because he's even like ganglier and like thin, like more thin looking. Like he's more gangly in the manga. They filled him out a little bit in the anime. But like Legoshi's main like issue, especially dealing with Haru the rabbit, is that he attacked her one night just because he couldn't control his own instincts. And he regrets it like to the extreme, to where he's not sure if he likes Haru because he's a predator or because he likes her because he's in love with her. And that's a whole plot thread of its own.
All right, interesting. Here's Mad Courier the Six. Wait a minute. Did Zootopia just rip this off beat for beat? No, I hope not. Zootopia seems like a charming. Was it Pixar or Disney? It was Pixar.
Disney.
Both. It isn't Pixar, isn't it? Oh, just Disney? Okay.
Yeah. All right.
But I think like the manga came out in 2016.
Yeah.
So same year.
Oh god, that might actually be where he has the white privilege argument from. That was the entire point of Zootopia, is that the white fancy sheep is the one that actually has all the power and uses the black people as their bodyguards.
Jesus, that's
All right. I want to see where he goes with this explanation, because that doesn't add up. But okay.
comes up with this shit.
Institutional injustice and inequality in our world due to race, gender, economic status.
What was that
Oh,
scene?
it's skipping around. Skipping around.
Let me just check this out.
World due to
Okay, so we have.
Isn't that like the Star Trek TOS?
Yeah, I was like, that reminded
No.
me.
That
looks
that's yes, but no. That's an actual species of rabbit that have like a two colored pelt like that. That's an actual thing.
That's called skin cancer.
Jesus.
Yes, that skin pattern actually can happen on rabbits in the real
The
life.
question is, do the rabbits treat that rabbit as inferior or different or whatever?
No, they don't like Haru because Haru basically is the school slut, and the black and white rabbit, she's just a bitch who her boyfriend left her to go have sex with Haru because she's awful. She's an awful person, and she doesn't like Haru.
Interesting. Okay.
Shouldn't she be the one picked on?
Haru gets picked on, not
No,
the black
the
and
other
white
one.
rabbit. No, the black and white rabbit is the bully.
All right. Porcelain is the fourth. Nasally beta lefty voice. You see, the wood's hunger pains are a metaphor for white people's carnal struggle to not shout the N-word at the top of their lungs every second of every day.
This man really understands the struggles the white man goes through every day. Oh god.
I still want to hear the explanation. of how
This is
white privilege.
like people saying that Elon bought Twitter just because he wants to say the N-word, which is real fun because then I just respond to these people. Oh, so why do you hate African Americans?
Yeah.
I just can't get
Because
over
Elon is definitely an African American.
this entire thing. Every time it comes up with animals, every time they try to bring this up with, like, every time these people, specifically the essayists, every time they bring up fucking racial or justice stuff, and
Yeah,
they
like-
start bringing it into real life comparisons, I just can't help but think, okay, how many of these would make you sound like a raging, flaming racist if you just use a different word?
Yeah, see, here's the thing. These people try to put IRL politics into the stuff that doesn't use IRL politics. Like, it may use concepts so that way we understand what's being said, but it doesn't like directly one for one just put in real life racial or whatever political issues into these stories. They like Beastars has its own political issues within the universe. It does, but they're not analogous to real world issues. Like, broadly, yes. Like, trying to pin it down, no.
Okay.
Race, gender, sexuality, nationality, and social economic status. If you believe that we're all born on an equal playing field, wake up. It's story time.
No one has ever said that. What do you?
Also, that's not the point of that's not the point of Beastars. Everyone in this universe actively acknowledges that predators are stronger than herbivores.
Do you think 2 + 2 is 5? Wake up. It's like, thanks. No one says.
Wake the fuck up, Jim.
There are 4 lights.
Oh no, that's where he was going with that entire thing of everyone is born different, and that's a major struggle. He's going to argue that, oh no, it just tackles the fundamental issues of everyone being born different, and we aren't ready to face that yet. Fuck off.
Maybe
Right.
that's just in.
5 minutes. He's got a lot more to talk about, so let's see what he has to say.
I was
15 minutes.
legally homeless for 7 years, from about
Don't
17 to
care.
You were,
Shut the fuck up about your personal life.
You were-
Go to the review, buddy.
this guy was legally homeless for 7 years, and now he's on
boom.
YouTube.
Talking about furry shit.
Oh, that's a very sad story. What does this have to do with Beastars?
Oh, that's a bit.
After
Wow, that's
9/11, I was homeless for 7 years. I
Wow,
had a
that's-
penthouse.
I hate
Now
this
it's all
shit.
gone.
It's like he's trying to play the sympathy card. He knows he's a piece of shit, so he has to tell you the sympathy bullshit.
Well, it's gonna be worse because like he's gonna say that he's sorry because like he's white and a male.
It's gonna intensify
He's the
what
guy.
actually happened.
If you were
I was
homeless
just-
for 7 years and you came from somewhere else, it's like I'm quite sure there's many governments would love to put you in affordable housing, get you a generic job, packing groceries or whatever. It's like there's opportunity. 7 years, dude. Okay.
But you underestimate just
Yeah, but he's
how...
probably a lazy fuck who didn't want to do any of that and just thought, oh, I should just get all this stuff.
That's where I was going. Thank you.
Like I
You
would
underestimate just how
sh-
lazy some people are.
I would like shovel manure if I was on the street and needed a job. Like I would do anything. What the hell happened for 7 years? Were you like chilling out in a park with a blanket? Like what were you doing?
I mean,
Well,
I've
he
seen...
was like homeless at a very nice part of the town.
Wow, yeah. Now I'm on YouTube with my video editing software and my
So
Windows
I can
11
lecture
PC.
you.
Like what the hell?
You were homeless for 7 years till the age of 24, and now you're spending your time making videos on white privilege
Yeah.
on Beastars. Maybe that's why you were homeless.
Yeah, maybe if we
I've-
throw him into the wilderness for 2 weeks and actually have him survive, that would be changing his tune.
Oh, he's homeless. Oh, he was homeless for 7 years. Did that not teach you any humility?
Did you learn
Clearly not.
survival skills?
No, that-
Like, what did you do?
No, it just taught him that he needs to start saying, gimme, 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 because I deserve.
All right. Well, here's Carlos Batista. Hey, thank you, sir. You can only use animal for stand-ins for the human racism if the animals were different types of apes. Interesting.
That's an interesting take.
Yeah,
I
like
would-
what's really hilarious is in the furry fandom, certain
Yes.
like Rottweilers
Yes, it
end
is
up
funny.
for some bizarre reason end up having a lot of black stereotypes put on them.
I was going to say in
I don't know
general.
I don't know where that came from. Like I honestly don't know.
In the furry fandom, it's hilarious. Period. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, no. I agree, and like it's really stupid. And I'm like, okay, you're the racist then if you're seeing that.
Yeah,
Fine.
If I have to put on an outfit to feel sexually aroused, there's probably something wrong with what's happening upstairs as opposed to downstairs. So,
to be honest, the Rottweiler equals black. At least that one I could somewhat see, because I can think of several movies, like just American drama and crime movies, where there's at least one or two black characters that has a fucking Rottweiler barking in the background. Like, I can imagine that. Much other stuff? Nah, I'm blank at that, amigo.
all right. Here is poor Salinas the Fourth again. What this man doesn't realize is that when he tries his best to reason that this show is super left wing, he makes it sound uber right wing, like the whole stronger, larger, and weaker animals being compared to humans sounds like an argument for eugenics. Well, I don't know. We would have to actually watch the show to make an ideal comparison, but he obviously likes it, and he's trying to defend it for strange reasons, and I still don't understand where that white privilege came from. He just sort of stopped and changed his topic.
It doesn't even sound like he's trying to defend it. It sounds like he's trying to defend his own batshit take on the show.
Yeah, it's just like another case of headcanon.
Yeah, the entire idea is that, the show is actually political, guys. And so far, his major big point as to why it relates to real world political issues
is because he went homeless for 7 years.
And white privilege, based on a character that is the most minority of minorities that ever minority.
All right, 5 minutes. Here we go. Let's talk about his 7-year gap between computers.
24. It was hard. It was some of the hardest times of my life. However, it was nothing compared to what it would have been like if I wasn't white and a relatively big guy. I was able to...
You're a fat fuck homeless for 7 years is what you're saying?
Wait, what is he trying to say? Let me just rewind this.
It's the same logic where he's using the logic where when the left says, oh, well, there's white privilege, and then we go, okay, so then why are there homeless white people? They go, well, they still have it better than a homeless black person. It's like, okay, so you were just retarded. That's what you're saying there.
All right.
Like, are you kidding me?
Here we go.
Like, if
I wasn't white and a relatively big guy, I was able to defend myself. Cops weren't out to get me. People trusted me.
What the
fuck is this going into? I don't know.
Cops weren't out to get me. What were you doing? Were you harassing people on the streets?
Why is this like 100 years ago? Like a cotton field?
In most places, the cops are going to leave the homeless people alone unless they're actively harassing people. Like, in Atlanta, the cops won't bother with most homeless people unless they're, like, attacking someone.
This is so strange.
And, like, even then, most homeless people in Atlanta, they try to be polite when asking for money.
Yeah,
like, they offer to give you directions and whatnot. Like, they don't just be like, give me money. They're like, hey, yada, yada, yada. Like, they try to be nice and friendly and talk to you and, so at least they, you know what they're doing, but at least they're not just being rude about it. I'm like, hey, that's both white and black.
So his life as a homeless white guy was so much better than being the guy in the story who's a wolf and whatever. I'm assuming.
No, not even that. Like, it doesn't even feel like it's connected to the story.
I'm waiting.
It's just like talking. It's just trying to tell his like political ideology through this Beastars because it's remotely related to like his struggle.
Yeah, well, my
struggle.
Go boo-hoo.
Yeah.
Cry about it.
All right. Anyway, let's try and figure out what the hell he's trying to say.
I just can't believe that he just like said that right. That like 7 years he has been like homeless. Like, oh well, if like I wasn't like white, then I would be still homeless.
Well, just imagine if Whisp was here, she'd be talking about her homeless time and going into a 20-minute rant about how horrible he had it or she had it, or whatever conclusion that this dude drew from that to say that the dude in Beastars had it worse. I'm like, oh
yeah, but for 7 years,
I know it's hard to believe.
It has to be made up.
Like,
I know.
I'm good. Like, yes, no, he has to be lying or just willfully ignorant of how, because you can get like free housing when you're homeless in the States, and I'm going to assume this is someone who's based in the United States.
He is American from his voice.
Yeah, it's not hard to get free housing when you're homeless. It really isn't. You just have to sign a couple papers and prove that you're not just completely out of your mind the entire time. Then if you are, you just get someone to sign it for you.
Maybe because of his white privilege, he didn't get the housing.
He's a white homeless man. Okay.
No, by his logic, that should have been easier to get. If he was white, it should have been easier for him to get a home.
That's not
by his
I know,
stupid
but
logic.
This fucker just can't make up his mind.
Okay, anyway, here's Roan Darush. Hey, Roan, how's it going? He's white and was a fat boy. He probably had to live in a van down by the river. R.I.P. Chris Farley. Chris Farley. Okay, I don't know what happened to him.
So it took him 7 years to get slim.
Yeah.
Get to a job.
What was he eating all that time? Holy shit.
Did he look like Movie Bob?
Maybe he was homeless because he was spending so much money on food, and he realized he had to sell his house and to facilitate. Yeah,
he kept failing the Movie Bob challenge for 7 years.
Okay, here we go. Mad Courier 6, thanks again. As someone who lives in Florida, I can tell you I've seen way more cops arrest or called on white hobos than black ones. Lol.
I think he was living in Portland. I'm willing to take a bet on that.
Oh, go figure. Portland.
Well.
We must ask Bears if he has seen this guy.
Here we go. I'm going to pronounce this very oddly. Nigishin Paris. Okay. I live in a place with a high homeless population, and I gotta say, from what I've observed at least, the worst cops will do to homeless people is tell them to piss off when they're on public property. If they're harassing someone, it's a different story. Right. Most of the times, the homeless leave people alone. I have seen it even in my city. The homeless get really aggressive asking for food when they're really just asking for money so they can go buy beer. So that's what ends up.
Well, then they don't get the money.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, but they're mostly harmless. Usually.
I mean, they occasionally get some weapons, but it's mostly.
They usually sit around with their dog or play an instrument or something. They're usually harmless. Usually. Anyway, let us continue.
I could get menial jobs easily. I was caught shoplifting and had my record completely expunged with a small fine and 10 hours of community service. I had a good educational background because of where I was raised.
Yeah, no, your record was expunged because you were probably 17 still. So once you turn 18, your record gets expunged. If you were a minor,
is that supposed to be him?
I hope not.
Is that the
Probably.
face of 7 years of being a hobo? White privilege.
yeah, if he's saying that his record got expunged, it's probably because he was just about to turn 18, so they gave him a slap on the wrist. That's probably why. Not because you're white, you moron. It's
okay.
Because your record was about to be expunged, and charges can't follow you through your life from being a minor to an adult.
Oh, here's a little bit of info from Carlos Batista. He was probably homeless in California, where the homeless get paid to be homeless. Really, the homeless get charging stations for their phones.
Yeah, there's a reason why
Really?
California has more homeless people in it than any other state in the country.
Wow.
Because it's constant. Because the weather's always somewhat decent there. The worst they have to deal with is earthquakes. And they just let homeless people get away with anything. Like in California, if a homeless person is on your property, you cannot call the cops to make them leave.
Well, time to pull the gun out.
It's California. Like, you can have a gun in California.
Well,
They're-
time to get the hose out.
That's still illegal.
Okay, the firefighter hose.
Anyway.
Yeah, they give more rights to the homeless people to do what they want than the people who, actually pay taxes.
Okay,
In
I will
California.
let my dog decide then.
Alrighty. Anyway, let's see his wonderful backstory here. Let's keep going.
Who I was born as allowed me to survive that situation, those years relatively unscathed, and that's unfair. Am I happy it worked out? Yes. Do I feel guilty that it was because of who I am, because of the way I was born, because of my privileges? Yeah, I do. It's
What?
Well, you
He is so privileged he became homeless. And
I
he's
have
sorry
nothing
about
to
that?
say.
What? I'm so privileged I became homeless, and it's all my fault because I was born who and what I...
Yeah. These people don't get that their argument that white privilege is a thing, then there should be no homeless white people at all. There should be no poor white people.
What the hell is he talking about?
Let's get some statistics. I don't know, like, how do you do that for the US? But, like, I'm willing to bet that the majority of the homeless people are male and white.
Yes.
So,
I
what
get
the fuck is he
that-
talking about?
Because let's just have to try to square this this round hole, and they can't, because reality tells them you're an idiot. Stop it, and they just refuse.
I don't know what's going on here.
This is insane.
Either way, let's get back to the actual topic, which is Beastars, I hope.
I actually want the furry shit back.
Yeah.
This is more insane.
Go back to the furries, please.
Get back to the furry. This is the last time you're gonna hear me say that.
I preferred it when the furries were on
it's
screen. Please, mama.
earned. Until I started YouTube in 2015, I can honestly say I never tried in my life because I didn't have to. My family was poor but educated, and I skated by on the bare minimum because that's all I ever needed to do.
What?
That says more about you than saying that you have white privilege. You absolute
Never tried.
What is this?
moron.
My family was really smart but poor. I was like, well, they're not very smart, are they?
Well, he didn't say smart, he said educated, which is very different.
What is that? If you have education, you must have some intelligence. You
You
trained.
see,
can read and
No,
write
Smudge,
some
don't
math.
you know?
Smudge.
Education's
You
a nice
say
way
that,
of
and then
saying
you
he's special.
No, his parents were probably intelligent and smart enough that they had a comfortable living, that they were able to take care of their bum of a child. That's I guarantee you that's what this is. But this idiot is too lazy of a person to actually get a skill, learn a skill, or actually try.
Okay, you know what?
He just admitted that he just skated by doing basically nothing his entire life.
I think he was kicked out of the house when he was 17. It's like, okay, time for you to get a
Yes,
job.
I'm thinking of that too. It has to be the case.
Like, I'll fully admit, I still live with my parents right now, but that's only because finding a job in the game industry right now is a pain in the ass. But I don't just sit around on my butt and do nothing all day. I do, private contract work. I help out around the house. I do a bunch of stuff. I don't just do nothing and like claim, oh, woe is me.
Yeah, like I'm glad he has some form of income or doing whatever on YouTube. That's good. But like there's a big gap here. He's like, dude, I had a good family. They were good to me, and they were poor. But then I was homeless. It's like, did everyone in your family lose the house? What happened? Did they die? Did someone kill some? Like what? Did the house burn down? Like this doesn't add up.
Yeah, it doesn't like
7 years.
Did all of them die off?
What it probably was is he got kicked out of the house, and then he just bummed off his friends' couches for 7 years.
Yeah.
So he didn't have a legal residence. Is what
I think like he was like in the Infinity War universe, and like Thanos snapped away his family.
No, don't you see? He sacrificed his family.
Oh, and then like he felt guilt because like I should have been erased as well.
Okay, he's got guilt. I don't think it's white guilt, but it's some kind of guilt. We don't know what it is. Fine, whatever. Let's keep going.
And maybe that's something I should be ashamed of. But being homeless taught me a lot about life. It taught me about myself. I lost a lot. A lot of bad things happened. It was not a cakewalk, but it would have been so much worse if I didn't have the social armor of being.
What the fuck is this?
Kid spoke about
He's sitting in a nursery or whatever with that toy next to him, and there's a
kids book about racism.
Is he in San Francisco? Is this what's going on? He just, home prices went up, family couldn't afford rent, and then,
Give me rent.
Give me rent.
I don't know. This is silly.
It's a free country, not a rent-free country.
Are we sure he didn't steal someone else's backstory?
I don't know. This is goofy.
Being white and a man, and I know that. And in the world of Beastars, Legoshi has that same armor class. He's privileged, naturally strong. He'll never have to fear getting hurt or being devoured by a carnivore unless he goes looking for a fight or shoves that drunk guy at the bar who keeps sitting on him like he's not there. Legoshi is a predator, not prey, and that comes with a sense of security in life. But unlike the many other carnivore characters, he actively realizes the effect his massive frame, sharp claws, and deadly fangs have on the herbivore population, which influences the way he holds himself around his peers.
The example you just gave was one where he was fucking choking the guy out.
No, so with that scene, it was Louis, the deer. Louis is a weird character. He's obsessed with herbivores with predators because he's a herbivore, so he's always seen as a prey animal, but he doesn't want to be seen as a prey. He wants to be stronger than the predator. He wants to be seen stronger than the predators. And so he's constantly fucking with Legoshi because he knows Legoshi's not going to do anything. Like, they're friends, but he's constantly messing with him and constantly teasing him. So, and
I just found it funny in that he was going on about how, he understands his privilege in a scene where his friend is choking him. And he goes, remember, I have teeth.
Well, it's like the way Louis since he's obsessed with predators and predators and the way, teeth are one of the killing weapons that predators have in this world. So Louis is he's fascinated by them because he's not going to have those. So,
all right, these arguments
took a really wrong turn.
Yeah, these arguments are like, wow, dude. He's being bullied. Oh, he's so privileged. He's being teased on. Like, what?
He's so privileged, like he doesn't need to fear anything, but like he has to live an existence of absolute torture.
He's constantly hungry. People pick on him because of his body. He has to get into fights even though he doesn't want to be in fights. It's like, what? This is privilege? Really?
He can't eat cheese. What kind of
There is no cheese. You can't make cheese in this world because there's no freaking sheep or cows.
Exactly.
I think cheese is a thing, but they use soy milk to make it. So
exactly, that's not
cheese. Yeah, forget about it.
Well, cheese, quote unquote.
May as well kill yourself.
Yes, no, it's not cheese. It's not cheese. No.
Again, remember, he is the one that is in complete privilege here, where all his daily necessities, and he can't go out and just buy a lamb steak from the grocery store. No, he's a privileged one that has to eat soybeans and make soy milk.
No one can go to the grocery store and just make dinner. They'd be like, oh, what is my vegetable medley for the day? Great. Broccoli again. Fantastic. What is it? Like almond butter, and what else is there? Vanilla, lemon juice. I don't know. Something tasty. Got some protein in it. Legumes. Trying to think here. Like, you got to really structure your life if you're eating vegetable protein all the time.
You must structure your life till it looks like a George R. Martin book.
Oh, God.
It doesn't exist.
Wow. Anyway, it's possible they have to really go into cooking and food in a story like that, but it's not a big deal. It's not the focus of the narrative. It's all right. Everyone gets along until they don't. It's okay.
Oh dear God, soy cheese. This world has no hope. Good point, Chronicler.
They do. It does exist, but it's not that great.
He's from Massachusetts. Ugh.
Fine.
Slouch to become shorter and less menacing while adopting an introverted and awkward image. It's another thing that many men don't realize about what it is to be a male. For instance, I don't feel tall, but
you think guys who are tall or in general don't slouch in general? Okay, It's easier to slouch than it is to have a straight back and exercise and a proper posture. What,
exactly.
What is straight? Hey guys, is everyone buff like me? It's like, no. He does it because he wants to fit in. Yeah. He doesn't want to be a menacing, crazy lunatic because he realizes that's not what society likes. He can't be himself. It's uncomfortable, and he realizes why.
And he has a privilege still. Like
Legoshi is the most like aware of his strength than any other character in the show, outside of one other character. He's the most like conscientious character in this series.
I was gonna
he's
say
constantly worried about hurting other people.
Most people I've met in the real world don't noticeably care about other people's height unless they're like noticeably tall. Like I remember one guy that was like 2 meters in like Legoland once that stuck out in a crowd. Like that's the only time where someone will notice like your height. Otherwise they'll usually not give a shit. Unless you look like you come straight up Aki.
Yeah.
Legoshi isn't the tallest character in the show. There are taller characters. He just himself does not like the fact that he's so tall.
Yeah.
Because he just wants to. He wants to be. He wants to be a back. He wants to be in the background. He doesn't want to stand out.
To blend in. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. And he just wants to blend in and not stand out and just be left alone. That's what he wants. But he can't because he's a 6'5" wolf man that could rip any of the smaller characters in two if he wasn't careful about it.
Alrighty, here's Mad Courier 6. Thanks again. He does know that wolves hunt in packs because they're not at the top of the food chart, right? That a wolf by itself is extremely vulnerable. Yeah, that's another good way of putting it. It depends. It depends on the societal association in the show, how they actually behave. Would they behave like they're hunting, or do they behave like they're humans? There's all kinds of nuances I'm sure you could pick apart here.
Like there are moments where characters kind of go quote unquote feral, where their instincts take over, and you kind of saw that, like when there's the scene where it showed Legoshi grasping Haru from behind, and he went feral at that moment. But other than that, it's like they just act like humans.
Right.
They talk and function like a human.
Okay.
To be honest, to add to our curious point or distract from it, depending on how you view it, I would be more worried about a wolf that's alone than if I saw a wolf as part of a pack. That's usually a very bad sign if you just see a wolf on its own.
Yeah, that usually means there's something wrong with it.
Yeah. Like, there are, the stories that comes to mind immediately is the stories from France, with basically psycho wolves, where they will literally they will tear at you until their brains have been bashed in with a warhammer, like levels of frenzy. Like, these are the wolves that they actively push out of their communities and packs. And if you see one of those like just walking about, yeah, you should be worried if that's if you aren't in this world where everyone is just a animal person, of course.
Right. All right. Okay. 7 minutes. Doing okay. Hopefully he'll have a better point to work with the next few minutes, or else it's not going to be very decent references to the story. I think he's done talking about himself, so.
But to a lot of people, I am. I don't feel strong, but to a lot of people, I am. And just naturally, I don't work out. It took me years of living with a diminutive woman to really get a grip on how imposing even an average man can be.
Are you a retard? I had to live with someone to figure out that I'm strong? Like, what?
I had to live with like a really short woman to realize that I'm strong. Okay, like that's not a good comparison if you like compare yourself with like another male.
I don't like that sentence.
Do you know children are small and weak? Did you know that? I had no idea. And there's adults who are big and strong. Like, wow. And some adults are bigger than other adults.
Just wow, one jerk.
Smart, I think I'm noticing a pattern here. Remember the Giga Mecha video where he said that the only time where he really understood why people like Mecha is when you stood at the foot of a full-size Gundam? And here this guy, the only time he realizes that height might matter to old people is when he was staying around a diminutive woman.
Yeah, I never knew fighting was painful until I got smacked in the face by a fist. You're like, really? You had to have that first-hand experience. It's okay.
I never knew being tortured was painful until they started pulling the nails out.
Yeah, I didn't know hunger was so painful until I didn't eat for a day. It's like, okay. Anything else you'd like to teach us there, sir?
I wonder what frostbite feels like. Hey, Johnny, put on the freezer.
Becoming the god hand isn't horrible until you've seen it.
Here is Ron Harushin for a $10 donation. Look out, Roni. All right, small rant here. Does he not know of all of the social responsibilities and downsides men face? We have to fight in wars, work dangerous jobs. Men have high expectations placed on them, but we are privileged. There's a lot. There's a lot of societal roles that men have that women
yes,
have.
Yes, as a man, we have the privilege of, having the highest suicide rate.
And go to war.
Don't you all feel so privileged, guys?
Yeah, the white males who kill each other off because.
And if war breaks out, guess what? Your ass is going into war.
Yeah.
You're not sending your sister.
Is that changed since Biden and Ukraine became an issue this year? That
I think there was talk about them removing or adding women to the draft because
that'll work. Yeah, sure.
Oh, the feminists were losing them. The feminists were losing their shit when that happened because it was hilarious. because the men's activists were like, well, I mean, you said you want equal rights, right? Well, guess what? Guess what that entails. Oh, the consequences of my my own actions.
1 week they were trumpeting the horn for war, and the next week they're like, well, I don't want to go to war. Well, that's what you wanted a week ago.
Really is funny just how easy it is for somebody to go from war to I am a nice stay-at-home mom.
Well,
when it comes their turn.
I don't know what's going on in America these days, but it's I found the war drum much more loudly played than I did the what was it, the COVID inoculation drum, whatever you want to call that.
Well, yes, because basically all states outside of California, New York, and like a couple in the Northeast have stopped giving a shit about COVID.
Yeah.
Everyone's moved on with their life.
For good
so then
reason.
the war thing happened, and now the war thing has dropped off because Elon bought Twitter, and the Democrats no longer have their own echo chamber. Or like an enforced echo chamber, I should say.
Yeah, so it was before it was 3 needle icons on their profile. Now it's the Ukrainian flag icon, and now they're no longer on Twitter. It's just gone.
Yeah, which is so telling when all Elon says is, I'm just going to enforce the rules as the rules of the country state, as opposed to making up my own nonsense rules, and that just makes them lose their ever-living mind. It's hilarious.
All right. Well, let's keep going. I'm not going to go through the entire thing. This is kind of silly, but we'll give it a few more minutes at least.
By simpling, Legoshi's direct opposite is the Red Deer Lois, leader of the theater department. This guy stands tall and proud. He's an overly aggressive, dominant male who makes up.
Louis, it's yeah.
Luis.
Yes. He's
Louis.
It's the French pronunciation is Louis.
Like Josh Lewis.
For his
Oh.
It's all right.
So he will get decapitated by a guillotine?
He's good.
Guillotine.
Delicious deer. Okay.
natural lack of strength with strength of character. He's the popular student on the fast track to becoming the next Beastar, a title bestowed upon the future movers and shakers of this animal world. The contrasting mentalities of these two are brought on by their own insecurities. Lois, Legoshi's natural prey, is in charge, but hates that he was born as an herbivore, lacking the power and natural self-assurance that comes with being a carnivore. He hates that Legoshi pretends to be weak to fit in rather than owning his power and rising up to his natural status of top of the food chain, pun intended. It's a classic case of natural talent versus hard work, or being born into status.
Natural talent. Are you... What?
Talent doesn't mean shit unless you have skill.
He is an actor or the head of an acting department, and Legoshi
Also,
is what? What is he?
What I'm also seeing from this is he hasn't read the manga because Louis, he like there's a reason why he acts the way he does to Legoshi about pretending to be weak or not wanting to act strong and whatnot because of where Louis came from, like his beginnings. So, and they haven't gotten that far in the anime yet.
Yeah. All right, fair enough.
Like the next season, we'll touch on it.
Puts all of his soul into being as strong as possible, but will never be able to compare to what Legoshi has in his natural physicality. It creates a bitter resentment.
Wait a second. So he's concerned the bigger, stronger dude is bigger than him. Therefore, he's angry. He's jealous because he's big and strong. That's it.
That says otherwise.
Louis is jealous in the sense of where like it's weird because he's jealous, but he's also pissed off at Legoshi for pretending for not acting like a predator.
Yeah, I wish I was a big meanie on campus so I could bully people around. Say what?
So he's a tsundere.
I
Kind of, yeah.
don't know.
In Louis, while on the other hand, Legoshi admires the deer's confidence in his passion and charisma, traits Legoshi sees as strength. The contrast here is essential to understanding the narrative. In Louis's mind, the carnivore is the natural leader, so he pushes himself literally past his breaking point to fight against what the food chain deems natural. He struggles to become the best and focuses on making himself look invincible for the betterment of herbivore kind. Legoshi, on the other hand, has a conflict of the soul, and his actions show that he resents and distrusts his own carnivorous instincts. He fidgets with his hands constantly out of anxiety. It's almost as if being a carnivore is a mistake, and his never-ending self-questioning.
Yeah, in this society, you can't eat people, buddy. What are you gonna do? That's the way. You can't just start eating people. You're gonna get thrown into jail or killed.
If you wanted to take this the white privilege route, I think this will be an excellent starting point for how not to do a quote-unquote right privilege critique.
This is
Legoshi here is clearly going through some serious shit. Like, he is dealing with the fact that he is a standout guy that wants nothing to do with the character he is born as.
Yeah, this is nothing more than having a story about I don't know, Silence of the Lambs. Like, you are a serial killer or about to be one, and you're fighting with your urges not to kill. You're like, geez, that's pretty dark. Now, there's a better reason for that in this story because obviously there's a bunch of herbivores and you're at the top of the food chain or whatever. It's like, yeah, okay, but that's the story. It's about a bunch of people trying not to eat other people and the societal struggle of that. It's a little weird, honestly. It's a little strange to read this kind of story. There are other stories that have anthropomorphic settings where there's the centaur girl and there's the snake girl and then there's all these other, like the rabbit girl. It's more of a friendly comedy. I think it's for girls. I think it's for girls mostly because there's mostly a girl setting. I can't remember what it's called. But it's not adult. It's young adult, obviously. It's not talking about deep themes. There are the ideas of alienation and trying to fit in, as pretty much every high school story has them. This is a bit more adult and mature. Why he's reading this as privilege or some sort of like not fitting in, it's like, dude, this is a dark idea. If you are running around trying to deal with your urge to kill people, that's a bit more sophisticated, a bit more higher level.
Especially the first two, like the first major arc of Beastars is far more about like dealing with puberty than anything, and like growing, like learning to be an adult. Because Legoshi is 17 in this, at this point in the story. After this arc, he is 18, so he's an adult in Japanese society, which this world mimics because, you know, a Japanese author. So 18 is an adult. It's more about Legoshi learning to grow up and deal with dealing in an adult world than whatever it is that he's going on, that this guy's going on about.
All right. Let us continue.
Before we continue, I'd just like to point out, of all things for this animated, like for all this guy to achieve so far, he's actually making me interested in watching this thing, if just to see if they actually, take, as you mentioned, this is basically a Silence of the Lambs story with a much better excuse for why the character is dealing with the issues or the urges to kill, because it's their literal food source. If that is how the story goes down, that sounds really interesting, no matter how weird the whole soy cheese thing goes down. Like, that sounds almost interesting enough to just ignore all those world-building questions, focus on the central narrative of, will he, won't he fucking butcher some poor sheep just to get dinner?
Like, that would, okay. Usually when you have these characters who have these setups, you have to deal with that either constantly or you have to have a resolution eventually. It can't just, if it's ongoing, it has to be different every time. You have to do something unique about it. And because of this story, as the setting is killing literal people, it's like, okay, that's not going to work very well because you're telling the story of a murderer. So you have to either set that up in a very...
Well, no, and it isn't that...
What?
Also, Legoshi only has this issue, like the instinct issue once, and that's with Haru. And then he spends the rest of his time agonizing over that he even just did it one time.
Yeah.
There's a couple times where he lets himself run loose, but that's for very specific reasons, and it's not at another prey species.
Well, that's why I'm trying to give the comparison to Baccano, because in Baccano you have these commonplace events where people just get butchered. And it's pretty horrific. Like on the train, there's all these people and they're getting shot up and what have you. So you already have this thing being commonplace. So your audience is not like, holy shit. It's like, no. This happens every episode. Someone dies or some person that gets killed or whatever. There's a serial murder running around. There's mobsters shooting at each other and all that stuff. And there's immortals running around. So even if they do get killed, they come back. So there's stuff to curve that shock
value.
Yeah, the shock is not as big a deal. It's like having lightsabers. Oh, everyone has lightsabers. Oh, yeah, it's no big deal. So it's commonplace. In this case, if you're telling me it's only one time, then it's okay, fine. It's not a big deal. But this guy's going on about it. It's like, oh my God, he's a carnivore. It's like, yes, it's not a big deal for him. He's dealt with his problems. He's growing up. He's got other issues to deal with, and there's so many issues. I listed a few. But there's at least a dozen of them going on in the story, not between him, but other characters as well. So it's an adult story with all kinds of issues and themes. And every episode has different stuff. And I don't know why he's latching onto this one specifically.
Revolves around whether or not he can fix what he is with who he is. This cyclical self-doubt is spotlighted during Legoshi's first encounter with his eventual crush, Haru. While keeping lookout for Luis as the deer and another actor break school rules to practice after hours, Legoshi's instincts take over when a smell overpowers his reason. Haru, a white dwarf rabbit, was in the wrong place at the wrong time that night, and for the first time in his life, Legoshi is overwhelmed by his natural carnivorous instincts. He attacks Haru, tackles her, and captures her in an embrace that could end in her death at any point. He holds her there as the two sides of his brain personified by himself and a shadow self in the anime, war between societal reason and natural desire. This scene is intense, and what should come naturally to an apex predator becomes a deep internal conflict between what Legoshi is and what society expects him to be, what he expects himself to be.
What he wants himself to be, by the sounds of it.
Yes.
So is this literally him trying to pull himself back from white supremacy?
This entire scene
if we
is
go
him,
by like what he was talking before.
Yeah, like this entire scene is him arguing with himself to not do it.
Again, this I just realized, hold up. This is just a big rewrapping of the entire, the demon, you must fight with your inner demons
Wait, there's just guts all over again.
This is just another gut.
There's just furry guts. What the fuck?
This is just... Oh, God. Yeah, right.
Wow.
Beast of Darkness.
Ouch.
Oh, God. Instead of guts being white and Castor being brown, the wolf is black and the rat is white. Oh, no.
Jesus.
Do I use the Berserker armor or not? No, I don't know.
Just...
Okay. And is this resolved the first or second episode? Like he just deals with it? It's like, yeah, it's no big deal.
Well,
I was about to make a berserk.
Again,
okay.
He deals with the fact that he attacked Haru and doesn't tell her that he's the one who did it for a while. And he has internal conflict of whether or not he's like, because then when he starts to have a crush on her and fall in love with her, he doesn't know if it's his instinct saying, no, you just like her because she's a prey animal, or that he actually likes her.
Okay.
And so that's also an internal conflict with himself, being like, do I actually like this person, or am I just instinctually hunting her down? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Interesting. That's cool. Is it animalistic instincts, or is it, do I actually care about this person? Yeah, it's great. See?
Yeah.
Easy stuff.
Toro makes a good point. I believe that this movie is not for kids.
Yeah. Pretty clear.
Yeah. The manga and the anime is, I think it's at a later time period, or set in a later time zone, or time in Japan, in the evening when more teenage and adult anime show. So it's not designed for kids anyway.
For sure. Yeah. All right. Well, I think he's making a mountain of a molehill here, or at least interpreting it and making it a bigger deal than it is. So that's fine, but it's it doesn't excite me to go watch it.
The near-death experience is interrupted and Haru runs for her life. As she flees, Legoshi accidentally scratches her badly with his claws, and the incident leaves Legoshi even more depressed than usual and full of self-doubt, but serves to show just how hard it is for even the most dedicated pacifistic carnivore to suppress their instincts. It's a scene full of realization, self-hate, and fear that pushes Legoshi to fix his mistake, while reinforcing his inability to trust his own nature despite his best efforts to act non-carnivorous. Haru, though, has an entirely different set of complications. She's treated horribly in school for being extremely promiscuous, which I'm personally all for, get yours, but for many, dong hopping is seen as lessening your personal value. Because of
You are, whether you like it or not, jumping from dick to dick does reduce your personal value, you whore!
And here's the thing, when she starts, when Legoshi befriends her and they start hanging out more, she stops doing this. She does it immediately after, she stops, she hooks up with Louis one more time and then she stops being promiscuous after she starts to fall for Legoshi as well.
All right.
Interesting.
Here's the Giga Chad. Hey, how's it going, Giga Chad? Arguing whether he should kill the rabbit is a metaphor for white people suppressing their urge to quote FBI crime statistics at every minority they see. I hope this guy doesn't think rabbits are a metaphor for black people because of the term jungle bunny.
Holy.
Wow. No.
Man, the chat's wild tonight.
Wow, we got some spoilers now.
Yeah.
Oh lordy, just imagine just walking by a black person, just having the natural urge to just jump on them and just quote crime statistics.
I swear to God, if he's gonna bring up George Floyd.
Oh.
Oh no.
He went personal. He might go, news. This was done, last year? Let me just check the year again. This came out 2 years ago. So yeah, he could. March. Yeah, was George Floyd in March or
May?
Maybe
Late May.
Well, maybe he did a second video.
Thank the Lord.
It was in May. He may.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
All right. Anyway, I'm gonna go for another few minutes. Hopefully, he's not gonna keep talking about this theme, but he's changed characters, so that's good.
this and mostly tends to the flowers of the garden member. Flowers that Legoshi is sent to pick up for the theater club, not knowing whom they belong to. This next encounter between Wolf and Rabbit is entirely different from the first, and Legoshi timidly speaks to Haru, who, despite her diminutive size, is relatively self-assured and very straightforward. She also says nothing about her attack despite having her scratches covered with bandages. Then as payment for Legoshi's help in the garden, Haru wrongfully assumes Legoshi wants to sleep with her, showing exactly what she assumes everyone thinks of her. She automatically begins undressing both of them, which short-circuits Legoshi's introverted brain. As a professional in the art of social distancing, this was the closest Legoshi had ever come to a woman or even being treated as—
What did he just say?
The art of social distancing. Are you shitting me?
As
That's a good way to date your essay.
How is
Up about these social
how is the big bad wolf a professional in the art of social distancing?
fucking eats the Little Red Riding Hood and Grandma. The fuck made social distancing.
Also,
He's
this
trying
frame
to.
is
He's trying.
so
He's
wrong.
trying
Jesus
and failed
Christ.
to make a joke because Legoshi just is a wallflower. Like he wants to again be just left alone.
Social distancing.
So
Anyway, that was a weird
Hey,
take, but
please move on.
yeah.
a male. It was the most intimate moment he'd had with anyone, at least outside his initial contact with Haru in front of the theater when he attempted to eat her. You could even say that these two scenarios were equally intimate, but we'll get into that.
So one thing I had to mention is Adam McLeod has a very good point. I just find it hilarious because the whole point of making a story about animals and focusing the story around predation was to decouple it from humans. But this dude's trying to bring it right back.
yes, because they can't take hypotheticals. Like they can't understand that not everything has to be taken 100% literally. You have to have an imagination.
Yeah, I remember the was it first or second season of Star Trek where there was these two ambassador species on the deck of the Enterprise, and they were like natural enemies or whatever, and they ended up finding one of the ambassadors dead. It looks like they were like killed for food. And they were like, "Oh, this is not good. Like, what the hell happened here?" So they're trying to protect this whole. The story is, first season is pretty stupid, but it's like we don't say, "Oh, what a horrific creature that Star Trek created." It's like, "Oh no, what a horrific a negotiation scenario. How do you recover from that? Not that murder is good or anything, but we see it for a higher level thing, for what it is, because it's just a day in the life of Star Trek on the Enterprise. It's not, this is a story about carnivores and people eating people and other nuances. It's like, no, that's part of it, but we're in the future where this is an alien scenario. We don't know how to deal with it, and we're just going to try and make the best of a bad situation. Not having to go into the theme of carnivorous people, or rather people eating other people. Yeah, it's good escapism and it's good symbolism. That's about it. We don't need to go literal. It's fine.
I would not categorize this as good escapism. This just reminds me that the furry menace persists.
Well, manga artists like having fun. This is obviously a bigger production if you're going 3D and, doing all this effort to have all these scenarios where, all this articulation. Like, obviously he has pants and there's belt buckles and all this detail. So,
Well, no, because normally in 3D you don't have. If a character's wearing clothing, they don't have a body underneath that clothing.
Right. So there's a lot of effort is put into the scene to make it as detailed as possible, which you have to respect as a director and an animator. That's cool. Is it to my taste? Not so much. Is it something I'm curious about? Not really. This is dealt with on so many other levels and so many other stories that have actual people. And it's even in smut. It's even in smut manga that this is a common occurrence. So it's like, all right, it's not a big deal. This is their own take, which is fine. They can have as many themes as they like. But what I've seen so far, there's too many themes. There's so many issues. And I don't know if that's intentional or they were just like, hey, let's do this episode, or let's have some.
Beastars isn't just like a one theme plot. Like there's a bunch of things going on within the series.
Right. That's
that
what I have a problem.
It touches on a ton of things, and this person is only focusing on one thing that isn't even in the story because he's an idiot.
Right. And
I feel like this guy is making it out to be more than what it actually is.
And I was going to bring up a curious point that adds to your point, Mark. You can draw parallels from You can draw parallels between the show plot points and the real world, but at the end of the day, no, orcs are not a literal metaphor for black people, for example.
Yeah.
All right, so our main character is embarrassed. He doesn't know what's going on. All miscommunication. We get it. Okay, let's continue.
What's failed interspecies review is that it didn't matter who was a carnivore and who was an herbivore. In such an intimate setting, they're both just animals, personalities and minds coexisting together. Legoshi had no inherent power over Haru. If anything, her Bang Train experience gave her power over Legoshi, a reversal of the taboo and unspoken societal norms, since everyone is supposed to be equal. This idea of equality through intimacy is expounded upon further by Haru later on. She was told her entire life that she always needed to be careful because the second she dropped her guard, she could be eaten immediately. She felt pitied by everyone because of her size and the fact that she was looked at as innocent and cute. Harmless smiles became condescension, offers of assistance became demeaning. She saw herself as the walking dead, that everyone knew that she would eventually get eaten because there was no way she could defend herself. It wasn't until a male confessed his love to her and they slept together that she felt like she was truly seen for who she was. She felt that there was no pretending there in that physical moment, so she chased that feeling of personal substance by sleeping around. In her mind,
I just realized his earlier point about herbivores being looked down upon. He is literally projecting Haru's backstory onto every fucking herbivore in the entire show.
This is Haru herself, because she accepts the fact that she's a prey animal and may get eaten one day, but she also she's more like, well, I'm just going to keep doing what I want, even though I accept the fact that this might be how I go out. Like, she does sleep around a lot because that lets her be more in charge, quote unquote. And that's also, like, it lets her take charge more often than not. But not every prey animal in this series thinks like her. There are some prey animals that look down on predators because predators get blamed for a lot of the society's problems.
Yeah, this is not a big deal. You could take your anthropomorphic characters, give them particular formats or characteristics of their animal counterparts, and play with that within a human setting. It's like, all right, bunnies sleep around, fair enough. Here's another backstory on top of that to give it some more meaning. Great, cool. Nothing wrong with that. It, again, doesn't really interest me, but I see where they're going. Fine.
In her mind, fluffing some fur puts everyone on equal footing, and for Haru, it's the one time she sees herself as an individual and feels that she's seen as an individual, not just a diminutive rabbit. And through animals, we see a uniquely human experience, the anxiety building up to an intimate moment, the uncertainty, the spark of someone else's touch. Intimacy is the ultimate give and take between two individuals. It's a permissive invasion, and it's the one thing that seems to break down the barrier between carnivore and herbivore in Beastars. But as the anime continues, it becomes apparent that an act of intimacy is not enough to break that instinctual wall for more than a moment. Legoshi continues to doubt himself and his growing feelings about Haru, and eventually meets Gohin, who I'm going to put out there as the first A-tier character of 2020. He's a giant panda, a massive carnivore whose diet is made up of 99% bamboo. He's buff, macho, and also a backdoor psychotherapist who totes a crossbow and believes Legoshi's love for Haru is a cross-contaminated emotional defense. He believes that Legoshi's ego has switched a true sense of lust for meat into a sensation which feels enough like romantic love for Legoshi to believe that's what he's truly feeling.
Wow, that was a gigantic mood whiplash. Holy shit.
Well, yes, no, so what happens is Legoshi and his the tiger that you've seen him talking with and the eagle, they sneak off to go to what's called the black market. Black market is where they sell meat. And it's an open secret that the politicians and the upper parts of society let exist because they go, oh well, that keeps certain predators in line, so we're just going to let it happen and we're not going to talk about it. Goheen lives in the black market, and what he does is he helps predators who have eaten someone, and helps them. He basically helps them get off a drug addiction, basically, and break that addiction.
Right.
And and he's like, I can do this because one, I only eat bamboo, so I don't ever have to worry about preying on another animal. And two, the dude's built like a brick wall, so he can take on most predator species without issue. And Legoshi goes to him for help because he deals with predators who don't want to eat meat anymore.
See, that sounds like a fun character. Like, all these characters seem pretty dead serious. Here's like this fun psychiatric panda musclehead.
Well, it's
crossbow.
Goheen. I mean, Goheen. It's tranquilizer darts, but like Goheen takes himself seriously. Like the situation is a little goofy, but that's also just due to the way the world works. But Goheen himself takes his job very seriously.
It just sounds
Legoshi starts
like it's fun now. Now this is a fun element.
Yes,
because everything else is like depressing and. Will I eat my friend? Like, oh god. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of that was set up to help explain the world and what's going on in it too. So.
Right. Okay. Here is the Copper Owl for the 555. Thank you, sir. This art style bugs me. These are humans in costumes. Anthro people stand like men but move like animals. I drew them for my book and looked at Real One. It is. Yeah. This style is not. I don't like the human spines or the human. Body types with the animalistic heads and fur. There's lots of different anthropomorph manga out there, and was it the one that you posted in the chat? I think A Centaur's Life. I thought that was kind of cute. How she sort of brings her friends together because she wants friends and she's so nice to everyone, and she's a centaur and blah blah blah, and all the nuances between. Being a certain species and getting along and being a girl and growing up, and I thought that was very charming. This is just serious and adult so far with little elements of characters that are fun.
I mean, there was that entire SS storyline in Centaur's Life.
Sorry?
There was an entire SS storyline in A Centaur's Life.
An SS storyline? Really?
Yes, with Nazi centaurs.
I didn't go that far. Holy shit.
Like, it keeps... Okay, so it has this very low, like, very comfy high school, like, drama, like, very cute stuff. And then it just hard shifts into, by the way, this all started in World War II, where the centaurs were leading a centaur supremacist movement.
See that?
Jesus.
See that?
Gotta love Japan.
Yeah,
Gotta love Japan,
yeah.
right?
It gets you in the door with the cute, funny centaur girl, and all of a sudden, World War II. Yeah, it's just like okay. But that's one way of doing your audience having some fun. So in this case, it's the opposite. But again, buff panda psychiatrist. That's cool. I like that idea.
Yeah, Goheen is a cool character too. Like, and the reason why he does all this is because his wife was eaten.
Okay.
And so he does all this to prevent other people from going through what he did.
Yeah, like I would compare this to not every, but most anime high school stories have goofy characters. It's just natural. The one that I'm watching now or reading now is Komi-san, Can't Communicate, where she's the ideal, what's the term, Nadeshiko, the ideal female Japanese woman, but she can't talk. She's super shy. And everyone around her, except for one guy, is absolutely nuts and quirky as hell. And they have their own very unique personalities. Everyone sort of adores the girl, and they all have reactions, how to deal with her, how to get her to talk, how to get her to communicate, because she just wants friends. She's very bad at communication, but she still wants to associate with people. And every scenario around that is always a comedic, hilarious scenario of people trying to communicate, trying to give her a gift, celebrate her birthday, do this or that. And you might have that little element of seriousness, of romance, as it builds up and up. And people actually hated that because it took 100 episodes at least to get to the romantic elements where they're serious about each other, as opposed to just having fun. So if it's a romantic comedy, you gotta resolve one of these plot lines of romance somehow, or else you're gonna keep annoying your audience. So there has to be a limit to how far you can go, and you have to have some levity in there. You have to have some fun. Doesn't matter if it's drama; it's everything serious. Hamlet is not all super serious. There are some moments of levity there, and lots of good lines. All right, Mad Courier 6 for the 10. Thank you, sir. Lure you in with cuteness and then traumatize you. Did Tomino happen to write it? Tomino.
That's the grade of Gundam.
Oh. Gundam's a great example. That's basically stories about war. And
but it lures you in with nice and fun and happy intros. Like all the Gundam shows are infamous for lying to you from the intros using very happy, upbeat music instrumentation and visuals. And then the first episode is like, here's how the entire world's population was genocided.
Here's our giant robot with primary colors, and the next episode it's like butchering people. You're like, oh, that's fun.
Well, Fullmetal Alchemist is pretty good with that too. Like the first opening is like all like happy and upbeat, and then it immediately hard cuts to seeing them try to transmute their mother back to life, and watching Ed lose his arm and leg, and then seeing the mangled corpse of their mother for what they tried to bring back. Like, it is a hard whiplash of tone right there.
Yeah. I like how all the anime intros are always not by my J-pop stars, but they have that sort of upbeat, happy, exciting, whatever. It doesn't matter what the show is, unless you're talking about like Monster or using metal music. It's like really happy, positive shonen stuff, I would say, is like that. And then you get to adult stuff, and it's obviously a little more hardcore. But no, it's you got to appeal on a very visual. You're basically making musical videos with openings for anime. You have to really get the reader's attention or the audience's attention, and then jump into something cool or fun or serious, and then just keep going with it. Like Cowboy Bebop. Anyway, 14 minutes. I didn't think we were going to go this long, but I'm glad he changed topics because I was tired of him talking about one character.
Beastars isn't a show that ends with the good feelings of, if you just believe in yourself, you can do anything. It's a show that questions whether or not anything you do is actually changing who you are, and that idea, expounded upon every character, makes Beastars relatable in a way that I've never experienced from another show. Despite the plot revolving around animals with fingers, the internal struggles between the different species and the umbrella categories of carnivore and herbivore are unbelievably human, and I think that perhaps it's because we so often see ourselves as above animals on a different playing field. A huge faction of the human race believes it is superior to other species, so superior that I've had actual arguments with people who do not believe that human beings are even animals at all.
What? Wait. You've had arguments with people who don't know the classifications of the animal kingdom? Why would you even have an argument? You just say, here's the kingdom, here's the phylum, here's the list, here's...
Just keeps doubling down on this insanity like that. It was about like him being a hobo, and then like white male, and like he's big. Now it's about that like we're all equal.
Yeah, guys.
I'm going to assume what the other people were saying was that humans are not on the same... Like, humans are a different kind of animal. They're not the same as, like, animals that we, like, animals we deal with as pets or, you know, in the wild. You know what I mean? Like,
well, this is the argument that vegetarians and vegans make a lot. So, we're all just mammals in certain regards. Like, yes, but we have extremely high-functioning cerebral cortex that allows us to communicate and talk. We do know animals do communicate in basic ways. No one's denying that, but they are not communicating in an intelligible way as we are. We are clearly superior.
I mean, some of them even attack us, so that's why we eat them.
Yeah, it's like saying, humans are just as fast as cheetahs if we wanted to be. It's like, no, cheetahs are really freaking fast. We cannot catch up to a cheetah. It could chase us down, no problem. The same way we could destroy them in mathematics. We would absolutely obliterate them in algebra. We know what we can do. We know what they can do. We've observed the animal kingdom. Now, if he's talking,
I was going to mention, you don't even have to drag it in through algebra or anything we have made. Just like a universal part of all human existence is worshipping a god in one way or another. There's a fundamental aspect of what we consider human is just the ability to worship something that is greater than yourself.
Yeah,
animals do that.
This is the common problem we have with people being subjective. Like, well, what's your criteria for comparing apples and oranges? It's like, why would I even do that? Why? Apples and oranges are exactly the same. They're fruit. They come from a tree. It's like, well, no, they're very different. They have different climates, different nutrients needed.
Yeah, I honestly got into an argument with someone who was like, did the whole everything is subjective crap.
Yeah,
because I was saying that there are good and bad video game mechanics. They're like, no, that's just subjective. I'm like, okay, no. And then I'm like trying to point out that if you go down that rabbit hole of everything is subjective, there's nothing good or bad, you end up in some very bad places. And he just it was a fun 3.5 hour conversation with this person going in a circle, because then it just got to the point where he would say something that was a statement, and I would just, okay, all right, that's subjective. How do you know? And he didn't have a response to
that. Yeah, no, it's like, what's your criteria? My criteria is different. It's like, yeah, but where did that criteria come from? Did you just make it up out of your ass, or did you actually observe the event?
My sources is I made it the fuck up.
Yeah. Here's Carlos Batista again. Humans are animals, the best of all other animals, because other animals have told me so. Anyway, I want him to continue this paragraph because I'm just excited by this guy's words.
Beastars makes it blatantly obvious that we are just another species with a stupid Latin name. The issues between the...
Wow.
Ooh. Tough words there.
So now he's racist towards language. That is mostly dead.
We have Homo sapiens, a stupid Latin name. You know who gave us that name? We did. We invented it. You know who didn't invent language of that nature? Everything.
Animals.
I was gonna say, even when we were looking down upon the Africans as a lesser species, we were going, okay, can you guys worship God? And here it's like, yeah, they can worship gods. They just view themselves as equal to them. And then you look upon the animals. What are they doing? Nah, eating their own shit, rolling around their own shit. Huh? Almost like there's a difference there.
Yeah. So we invented language. That's stupid. Okay, stupid.
Carnivora and the herbivora in the show are all relevant to the Homo sapien. And Legoshi, as a deadly wolf, is a gentle soul, trapped inside a terrifying body who only wants to escape the conditions that predetermined his placement in the social order of life. It's important to note that you can be a gentle and good person and have terrible thoughts or look frightening. A brain is an organ whose primary function is to think and process data. Sometimes that digestion results in a thought that makes you shudder, maybe makes you think you're crazy or sick in the head, but it happens to everyone. It's important to remember thoughts are no different than heartbeats or stomach growls or
what is
heartbeats and stomach growls are no different.
All right, so I can't remember who said it. I think it was Deepak Chopra or some other guy. Like the chemicals in your brain are 80% similar to the chemicals in your stomach or something like that. Like they say when you have a gut thought or a gut feeling, like you're literally having a gut. It's like, okay, that's a dumb thing to analogize, but fine. Yes, the chemicals in your body are very unique because we have this circulatory system which transmits them all throughout our body. We have a blood-brain barrier which separates some of that, and we have specialized organs based off specialized tissues, but they all come from stem cells and they get altered as our body was developed as an embryo. So, yes, Many things are specialized and the same as well in our bodies. But no, heartbeats are not the same as gut feelings or having creative thought. No, these are different.
All right, so
3 very different organs: the heart, the stomach, and the brain.
all right, people got some very good comments in the chat here. So first week, I'm gonna go with there we go. Rones, let's see a cheetah build a gunpla. That's a very good point. We should test people on whether they count as a human beings or not, as to what, like, based on whether they can build a gunpla or not. Let's narrow that let's narrow that population just a little bit. Adam McLeod said, I swear Culture 101 courses stress the importance of deconstruction and subjectivity in analysis, and the D student just ignores the rest of the lessons. I mean, I wouldn't insult D-class students by comparing them to this guy. And then there's Ego Dreamer, who says, so much prejudice for an animal that wasn't even presented in the show.
I don't. Maybe this guy spent a lot of time in free lecture halls in college when he was looking for places to sleep, and they just let everyone come in if there was like social sciences or whatever.
This guy saw himself as a superior human. Then he learned that his views isn't socially expectable. Good point, Mike.
Nick pointed out in the Smudcast discussion channel that apparently he talked about that 7 years as a hobo, and he got into like a bad crowd, and he ended up being a junkie. And
oh, really?
Just the place where he was mostly sleeping was like those crack dens.
Okay, so I'm assuming he was talking to other junkies and they were having weird experiences, or they were having these really weird revelations about all life is connected and we're all the same and we're all just organisms on this planet and yada yada.
Drug addicts.
Yeah, I'm a vegetarian now, or I'm a vegan. I'll get my ears pierced and my lobes pulled, get some holes in my nose or whatever. It happens a lot.
But it's a good thing that he was white and a big guy, so he could leave the crack den.
Aw. He was a crack addict that got into a bad crowd. Oh, still don't feel bad.
Alrighty. Here's Joe Crazy. Joe Crazy. How's it going, Joe? All animals have a Latin name, you hobo. No, it's a stupid Latin name, guys. Stupid. Latin stupid.
Stupid Latin name.
Ancient Greece and ancient Latin.
Isn't like wolf like lupus?
Latin, Greece.
Lupus something canine. It's lupus canine, I think.
Yeah,
Lupus
that's
canis?
definitely lupus.
Ego Dreamer comes in with another smashing hit. Finally, a worthy sequel to 12 Years a Slave, 7 Years a Hobo.
Oh, Smut, I did forget. There is one slightly goofy thing where, like, all the animal species have, like, a biodome, like, area in the school where they can go to, like, be in their natural habitat.
Oh.
And for, like, wolves, they have, it's like a night sky with a full moon at all times. And everyone has to go into these little, like, biodomes for, like, an hour and a half throughout the day to help regulate their natural body processes.
That's interesting. Okay, I kind of like that. It's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, for all species, it's not just predators.
Yeah.
So herbivores have it too. They just never show any. I think they only show the alpaca one once, and it's just like a mountain-esque like background, like painted onto the walls. So it's like they're out in like mountainous areas.
All right.
So yeah.
Here is Cyrek being fancy. Thanks for the Latin there. Quishawk protest flecti superstump et sapor per an asinum. Drop it into your translator if you don't know.
Who can bend over stump and taste through an ass?
Oh, dear. Anyway, you guys want to continue? I don't mind, because at least he changed topics. Okay.
I want to see how this
okay.
All right.
To be fair, despite the fact that this is a fucking word salad, this is a lot less painful than his fucking hobo story.
Yes. I'm glad he finished.
Yeah, so at least like feels like it's going fast.
Yeah.
Simple breath. It's the meaning that you give thoughts. that matters. And speaking of meaning, some carnivores resent Legoshi's refusal to come to terms with his taste for flesh, and some don't. Some herbivores like Luis resent Legoshi for suppressing his advantages for their sake, but some also appreciate his kindness. For those who oppose his ideology, it's like each side is saying, what, you think you're better than me? All the while our wolf boy is just trying to understand his own feelings and needs in a complicated world. This feeling of not being who you want to be, of being fit into a specific role not because of who you are but because of what you are, hits on a deep visceral level. I'd also like to point out the likelihood that much of this series has to do with the Japanese ideology of masculinity. In 2006, the term herbivore male or shoshu.
I don't know if that's why. Okay.
Like this chick who wrote this manga is literally
he realizes that this is a female mangaka that wrote this, right?
Female mangaka, yeah, and like she is very connected to Baki, which is like masculinity overload.
Well, yeah, it's a show about fighting and crazy scenarios. There's lots of understandings of humanity in Japanese stories and history. The best example I can give is from Yukio Mishima, and he has a whole all of his work is pretty much about what it means to be a man, what it means to be Japanese.
I was about to say, is that the guy that you're always going about when it comes to being a man?
Yeah, he's the number one dude. If you want to learn about what the Japanese thought, not only just the Japanese, but even ancient Japanese, like he was a big proponent of what it meant to be imperial, what it means to be part of the society, what it meant to be part of the military. He was the last recorded fellow who committed seppuku, I believe.
That guy, yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, because that was the guy that accidentally tried to take over a military base, then failed, and then it was right after it was like only a few years after World War II, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like he wanted to reinstate.
He died in the 70s.
1970.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know why time gap there got me, but yeah, no, it was like he wanted to reinstate the emperor as like the reigning, like as actual reigning lord, not just a figurehead like they are now.
Yeah, there's plenty of stories, like never mind his personal life, and he was gay and he was a model and he was all these things, but his stories really focus on the slice, not necessarily slice of life, but the scenario of like a villager or a fisherman or someone getting by and being a man, and how you do that and why you do that and how you treat people and what does it mean to be courageous, why you are the way you are in your scenario, why you respect your family. And these are like basic things that he was so strong about that no one else was doing. And I thought that was such a, like, I think The Sound of Waves was one of the first ones I read of him, and it's such a simple story. Anyone could read that. But other ones are just really, really touching. And if you want to know what the Japanese thought. Now, obviously, he's not the only guy who does that, but he's the clearest one I could think of. As for manga artists and writers, who knows? Just masculinity is very rarely addressed outside of a very specific story where masculinity is the main theme, which I can't think of off the top of my head, unfortunately.
And Beastars isn't about being a man. It's about being an adult.
I think most of young adult as well as coming of age stories are about learning all the things you have to become to join society.
Right.
So
right, but he's just not correct. This isn't yes, Legoshi's the main character, but also all the characters around him who are dealing with the same thing he is. Basically, it's all about him and his friend group more or less growing up and maturing and being adults to be able to enter into this society,
right,
where all his predator friends will have to deal with a lot of different things than the herbivores will.
All right, Cyrek nicely corrected me. This person can be bent over a stump and fucked by a donkey.
Is that the whole point?
That's his translation.
Oh, sorry. The translation from the Latin. Thank you. All right. Fantastic. Let's keep going.
Shokudon was coined by Maki Fukasawa in regards to men who don't fit with the aggressive and dominant masculine archetype which pervades Japanese society and American society as well. We just lie about it a lot more. I relate so intimately to understanding that people want me to be something that I'm not. I feel constantly at odds with who I am inside and what society expects me to be. Like, why don't you grow up? Why don't you get a real job? When are you going to take life seriously? It's a consistent feeling of being expected to take up a role I don't even want or care about. I'm happy being me, even with all.
Who is this your parents? Like, who's doing this to you?
Probably not the parents if like you
Who
had
hurt
to be
you,
a hobo for 7 years.
Yeah, if you're alone for 7 years, what the hell was going on? Was that like your guidance counselor or some government appointed counselor who's just like, hey, you should get a job. You should shower once a week at least, or in whatever you did. That's good. Clean, responsibility, having a job, helping people, getting property, renting a room, paying your bills on time. These are all good things.
This is another mouse.
Being an adult.
Yeah.
This is another mousetrap. These people, I'd say like millennials and even subsumers seem to fall into is the idea that being yourself means that you have to embrace the bad parts of you. You don't need to improve those. You don't need to become an adult. You can just keep being yourself, and that's the right way to go. No, that's not what that means.
Well, if this dude wants to go on a farm and just till the soil and get paid minimum wage or whatever and live off the land, that's fine. You could do that. But what are you doing with electricity and video editing software and talking about anime? Like, you obviously have time on your hands if you're watching anime and doing all these cuts and clipping things. Like, I don't know. I can imagine how crazy this whatever YouTube algorithm for finding copyright material in this one anime must have driven him nuts. I don't think he's making money off this. So, does he have sponsors? Does he have a little Squarespace plug at the end of this video? Like, how is he making money? I don't know. He's doing something. How'd you get from A to B, sir?
Honestly, I think he's probably living off of government pay. I don't think this guy does not sound like he's earning any amount of money, especially with just 200,000 sound. Like you started out with saying, 200,000 views is how much this video has, correct?
Since 2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, but like he has 224k subs, and he's verified as well.
That is nothing. That is literally nothing.
He has a Patreon, and that's all of it.
Yeah.
Of course, he has a Patreon.
He lived it. What was it? What was it he lived? Zarek mentioned at some point. Yeah, he can't have a rent that low where Patreon money is gonna allow him to get by.
Yeah.
So yeah, he just doesn't want to grow up. Is my takeaway from this entire thing. Yeah, kicked out by his family.
He gets $4,500 from Patreon.
Wow.
Damn. Never mind. He can live off yeah. You
in California. If he's in California or in Portland, Oregon, no, he cannot. Like, those are very expensive.
Yeah.
But he's not scraping by.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Depends on where he's living. If he's in California or Portland, Oregon, yes, he's scraping by. If he's in, Montana, not as much.
San Diego. Is that California? Yeah, California.
Oh yeah, so he's scraping by. He probably lives with 5 other people in a 3-bedroom apartment. If lucky, if that.
All right.
My faults and idiosyncrasies. It's these pieces of real life so perfectly knitted into Legoshi's story that makes Beastars an ironically excellent take on humanity and the struggles within it. When you zoom from the macro into the micro, all Legoshi, Haru, and Lois are trying to do is become happy with themselves as well. And the end of the season, while left on a huge cliffhanger, highlights at the very least some progression. Legoshi steps up to the plate and uses his power not to harm, but instead to protect protect Haru, and Luis gives up his pride to enact justice the only way he feels he physically can. While Beastars is a completely make-believe world inhabited by uncharacteristically human personalities for an anime, it's a real emotional down-to-earth.
For an anime, oh lordy, there we go. That was the one I was waiting for. He finally dropped the other foot.
Oh yeah, and so also, Louis, by the way, the lion he just killed, that was the mafia boss. He then takes over being the mafia boss, and he is a herbivore in charge of a carnivore mafia.
How are those people even allowing him to? Well, whatever.
Because the rest of the mafia members go, okay, it might make us look good if we're like, their logic is it makes us look better that we have like the herbivore is so strong that he can be in charge of all of us, so that makes us look stronger as a organization.
It doesn't make any sense.
The Yakuza are a weird thing, and the Yakuza, it's a lot of strength. Like projection of strength is a massive thing. Not just actually having physical strength, it's projection of strength. So their logic is if they're led by a herbivore who is so strong to be in charge of,
yes, I get
an
that,
entire
but
network
like,
of
yeah,
of
fine,
lions.
but like what he in that scene that he just like put a cap in that lion with the gun.
Yes.
Any fucking guy can do that.
Yes. But the other reason why he did it is because that lion was also one that wanted to eat him as a child. So he was getting revenge on that guy as well.
Fun.
I'm still hung up at the statement of, surprising human characters for an anime. Wow, you really, really hate like everyone else around you, huh?
Or he's never actually watched an anime outside of like, because even the popular shonen stuff have well-written
He
characters.
watched plenty of anime, judging from his channel. Like his entire channel is dedicated to Japanese media,
pretty much.
Then
How
what
do-
is his? What is
How
his?
can you
What
make
is
that
his
statement?
line then? Then what is his line if he doesn't? If he
because
watches anime all the
this show
time?
is fine for his headcanon to tell his political bullshit with parts of his background hinted at the middle.
Yeah.
Hinted at, I think you mean dropped on us like a ton of bricks.
Well, I was trying to be diplomatic.
It's
but
more
yes.
like an anvil. Actually, no, make that a safe. Since he's not so good at keeping secrets.
It's a
Came in
fucking
like a
piano.
freight thing, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, more like a pipe organ.
Yeah, there's so many themes that anyone who's politically minded, like they say, someone tells them, oh, this show has rape and drugs and addiction and gender roles and violence and social economic
Is there a point to it?
disparity. Like just go down the list. This show has elements of that.
This is just like the Atlantic slave trade.
Oh God. All right, 3 minutes. I think we're almost done.
Let it end.
Earth candid take on all walks of life deal with every day, and journeying through an exceptionally well-built world with a character that is constantly trying to understand his place versus himself. And that's a struggle I think we all fight with at some point in life. We see how complicated love can be due to personal history,
Yeah, I might want to eat you. I might not actually love you. That's okay. It's great dilemma there.
I want to say that I get where he's going with that, but the whole
The problem is the road he took to get to this point makes no sense whatsoever.
No, I'm thinking the issue with that is that in my mind, it's drawing comparisons to I might not actually love you, I might just be sexually attracted to your body.
That sounds shallow as hell.
Well,
That's my point. It's like the only reason that he's dealing with whether he just wants to, like, he loves her or he's just attracted to her fucking flesh. Like, even if that's his point, holy shit, is that a leap and a half across the Uncanny Valley Canyon.
All right, so I think he's summarizing, so we're almost done.
circumstances, class, race, and instinct. It's possible that Haru is having difficulties with Legoshi because of their initial interaction. Life and death fear doesn't just go away even if you accept it. Your body will naturally react to stimulus. We get a glimpse of how corrupt those in control of society's image have to be to keep up the facade of peace and safety. In truth, the world can be a dangerous and scary place, more so for those who are marginalized. There are those in it who have rejected their social contract in order to take what they want, whatever it may be, without remorse. Because in the end, even right and wrong are dictated by that social contract. Beastars shows that everyone is inherently different, that the world is tough and unfair, but nobody is useless or powerless unless they believe so. And I think most people are ignoring the show because they're writing it off as softcore furry gentai, which is a semi-solid take too. Hi everybody, sorry that I ended.
I mean, it's not. There's all of like 5 scenes where that's a thing, and they last all of less than a minute.
I like that you managed to undercut every single point you made up to this video with that single sentence. That was amazing. Holy shit. I think that's the first time I think that's the first time on a Smudcast I've seen someone just shoot
all
such a
this
big
down the
build-up.
shitter. All down the shitter. So it was all for naught. God damn it.
That was 18 minutes, and then he just immediately shut it all down.
Yeah, the allegory between love and lust and love and hunger, but really no, it's just softcore porn.
Just lust. It's just porn.
It's just porn, guys. It's like, oh, thanks.
Well, thanks. Thanks for the nothing.
Oh boy.
Go smoke crack, asshole.
This very serious video on a joke. I just figured that we needed a little bit of levity towards the end there, but that's besides the point. We have just a couple of things to go over quickly before this video is over. First of all, I would like to thank our newest super.
All right, you're great.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, we're done.
Okay.
That's good enough for me.
He's done.
Alrighty. See what crazy things we got going.
I gotta drop out though because I have a long day tomorrow and I have to get up early.
All
right.
right.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
No
have
problem,
a good night.
Mark. See you, Mark.
See you, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
All right.
I said Mark, not Mike.
Stream memes.
Go.
Point of view. Oh, okay, this is from you. You are a fish in Beastars and a carnivore spotted you. Okay.
Oh god. I just could not let that one escape my mind after we talked about it, where it's just like, oh, if you're a fish, you just have to accept death.
Well, it's less that they have to accept it, it's less that ideologically and like culturally they're like, because of danger is literally all around them in the ocean, they just like, well, we die. It's like the Lion King thing where it's like, we die, we then feed the thing that eats us, and then that feeds whatever eats it. That type of logic.
Yeah,
like they don't.
I get
Yeah,
that. I get that. It was in the context of the discussion. I guess the surface people, and then you got into the fish people, and I was like, imagine being a fish and a carnivore just sees you, and all laws just go flying out the window.
So double pattern rabbits are inferior. Okay. Bonsai pop
That's
probably.
racist.
And I live in a van down by the river. Bunny girl's degeneracy scale acceptable. All right, that is acceptable. Still acceptable. I don't know what that one is from.
That's One Piece. Yeah,
that's One Piece.
She's a fun character.
All right, questionable. I'm not even sure what that is.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought you were on still acceptable, or thought you were on questionable when you said. I'm not sure. Questionable is carrot from One Piece.
Yes.
Okay.
The still acceptable one is from Isekai Railgun.
Oh. Okay. Haven't read that one. Furry. Yeah. What the fuck?
Main Abyss.
And you sick bastard. Yeah. Okay. Don't give the homeless pickaxes and Adderall and tell them there's gold underneath our most important road systems.
Oh no.
You don't need to tell them that there's gold underneath there. You just gotta tell them that there's more Adderall.
iPhone chargers.
Well, they use the clip from 1984, I think. Either that or it's the commercial, the Apple commercial from 1984. I don't remember if that's.
That's from the.
What's
movie.
the difference?
Yeah. Well. Why don't homeless people just buy a house? Wow. I'd buy a house.
Look, Smud, you think this is a joke? This is literally how these people think that they're only homeless because they don't have a house, not because of other reasons.
Yeah.
That if to solve the homeless problem, we just need to build or, give them a house that's empty currently.
Yesterday, someone said that I don't deserve human rights. They're called human rights, not faunus.
Faunus.
Oh, for fuck's sake, we can't escape.
It always comes back. It always returns.
What is this? Hoffman, you're shooting me. You can't come in. 7th Jewish guy to call in sick tomorrow, September 11th. Yom Kippur, you made that shit up. You're fired. Peter Parker enters. Parker, seeing this in the financial section? Silverstein's shorting all the airline stocks. The fuck is going on?
Real well.
I want to see what this one is.
Okay, so you can play this. The audio's not going to get you cut for this one. It's literally just the voice actors for the English voice actors for Beastars. They were on a podcast and they were reading fan lines.
All right.
And someone animated one of the conversations. They've done a bunch of this because the voice actor for Legoshi embraced it hard because he has fun with doing stupid meme quotes for people.
Someone order a big sausage pizza?
I did, but I don't have any money.
Why the fuck did you order a
And that's another character in the show.
Beastars
shows up
world
later.
doesn't have proper cheese. I know. What the fuck? Why would you make a story with all these animals that have, known for making cheese and they don't make cheese? You're crazy. So yeah, I don't even think that's healthy for you, soy cheese. It's probably something wrong with it. There's all kinds of weird cheese. There's cheese made out of almond milk and all kinds of dumb things. What is going on here, Mike?
He keeps fucking the name up, and each time he'll say Luis or Luis.
Louis, yeah. I've completed Lego Smud and Doomcock and Harvey have been made. Okay.
How about
Harvey?
I can respect the hustle of making like Smudcast and Co. into Lego characters.
Yeah, not sure about Doomcock and Harvey.
I mean, if you want an anchor on, I guess.
All right. The logic of Bonsai Pop. White people trying not to say the N-word. White privilege.
Crime statistics.
Furries. Well, it's hunting season. Get 'em, boys. Leave the shark to me. Okay.
This looks like the preparation for a school shooting scene.
The art of social distance. Oh boy, another one of these.
That meme would have been funnier if she just held the thing towards the dog, just to block it off.
Legoshi is gay. A queer reading. Okay, we're gonna watch that later.
No,
it's 3 hours.
Yes, 3 hours. This was the one
I've seen that pop up. It's like 3 hours long.
I was tempted to mention this one at the pre-show because it was so ridiculously long. But let's never watch this and let's just forget about it.
All right. World's only known brown panda remains a virgin after failing first natural mating attempt.
Oh, I get it because it's brown.
They're pandas. What are you gonna do?
Well, yeah, pandas are also... Panthers are notorious. They're
stupid. Yeah,
the only reason literally the only reason they still exist is because we as humans have permitted them to still be existing.
So here's
not even kidding.
Here's episode 1 of Centaur Chan, I think that's what it's called, and episode 9. Fantastic.
Animal outfits.
Totally normal young adult show for girls. Totally. More Mike Testa. What do you got for me? Oh, there's bears and sorry, there's not bears. That's guts. Okay. I'm not a good artist, so I drew these for the pros to copy, based them off horny toad lizards, and gave them a slouch, but the boss stands straight to look off. He's based off Mr. Big.
You say you're not a good artist, but that's really good.
It's fine. You're getting there. You're drawing. It's keep going, man.
Also, is that the Australian guy that wore a set up like metal armor when he was in a shootout? The guy on the right page
Metal armor.
on the far left?
Really? Where am I? Oh, is it Mark? Yeah. The guy is a self-proclaimed punk, so this will probably fit well. Punks before, punks now. No sexism, racism, ableism, ageism, homophobia, fatphobia, transphobia, hatefulness. Wow.
I thought the whole point of being a punk is you're
Rebelling.
bit of a jerk.
You're going against the status quo. You don't like the hand you've been dealt, and you're trying to change things. And
Yeah, but haven't you heard? Antifa is punk now.
Oh God.
Yeah, destroying your city. That's so punk. What are you going to do after it's gone?
You may not be able to change the past, but you can still fuck up the future. Oh. Thanks. All right, Joe Crazy, here's a quote, or a comment rather. As a man, and knowing that it's a woman that I wrote the manga, this story show all, and I mean all sides of masculinity and nature of being a man in our current society. It's unnerving how spot on she can be, describing all of it through the lens of animals. I was not expecting it, and even though knowing it doesn't make it easier to swallow, the manga goes deeper, and to be honest, I reluctant at the thought of reading that shit. What? So first she's saying this is good because it's so reminiscent of reality, and then they're saying it's bad because it's something I don't want to read about. What? Why would you? This piece of work is it resonates with me so much, but I can't read it. It's so sad. I'm so triggered by it. I can't handle it. It's like, what? Weird. This isn't like, you're reading a manga about war.
I mean, it's not like you're reading a manga about children who sacrifice themselves to go save the earth. Nah, that's not hard pulling.
Okay. More Mike Testa. What do you got for me? What the hell? Is that another Lewis or Louis?
Pretty much.
Okay. The viewer's faces when realizing that the main point got dropped like a New York baby. Yeah. It's just softcore porn, guys. Bonsai Pop, his own point.
Why would somebody do this?
Oh, God. Anyway, yeah, at least he had some fun finally with his audience there, as opposed to this is deep and serious anime with themes, so many themes.
The themes
that don't exist that are...
Yeah, and how about instead of the themes, talk about what's in the foreground instead of the background?
Well,
I'd rather him just talk about what's actually in the story.
Yeah, no, he
and not the complete insanity that he just makes up.
Yeah, the interpretation was a bit off, but he described. I mean, he had a lot of. I think everything was just animated, so he had a lot of clips. That
when he described the characters. He described the characters more or less correct outside of, like... When he described characters' personalities and what their, like, overarching story was, yes, he was correct. But when he started adding in all the nonsense of, like, white supremacy and white guilt and all this, and guilt of being a man and all this crap, it's like, that's not in there at all.
Yeah, he didn't have to throw in his personal life. That was unnecessary. He had to focus on the arguments and what these characters are trying to accomplish, what they want. That was at least, I think, accurate with the descriptions of the characters, but...
The best part of the entire video was the tonal whiplash with the fucking Milky panda.
Well, that's the only thing I liked in this whole story was that there's this psychiatric muscle-bound panda with a crossbow. I think that was kind of cool.
His logic is, well, I have to be muscle bound because I have to wrestle these complete, basically drug addicts that are on a massive like mental break that he has to wrestle these people into submission. That's why he work. That's why he's as built as he is. He's not fat and lazy.
Yeah, everything else seems okay. I'm not sold on a lot of these stories that look like, oh, this is Animal Farm, but with real world scenario or trying to do real world scenarios that don't quite match up. If it was like alternate worlds or there's another world trying to mesh with another, I'd be like, oh, that's more believable. Like you have this buffer zone or something, but this is like the whole planet. Like this is everything. You're like, wow, that's a hard sell for most people. So you have to give me something to like, oh, it's cute or oh, it's funny. It's lighthearted. It's not too serious. This is like rape and eating each other. And you're like, oh my God, get me out of this world.
All right, Copper Owl.
I'm surprised no one dropped it in, but let me pull up. But hang on.
Copper Owl. Thanks. The armor is based off Ned Kelly. Yeah, that was the guy I was thinking of with the armor. Very cool drawing. You're a very skilled artist, and you should continue practicing if that's what you consider quote-unquote bad art.
Here, hold on. Smud, one sec.
What do you got?
No, I was grabbing some like cover art or like manga cover art for Beastars, so you can see like the art style from the manga, like how when I said like it's kind of like its own type of ugly, but not really. Like I just dropped it into the chat, into the main chat,
okay,
into the group chat.
Let me check it out.
Like she has her own like very specific art style.
Okay, yeah. Watercolors looks like. I can't quite tell.
Yeah, like just even in the black and white, like she has a very specific like. In the anime, they make Legoshi look far more handsome than he looks in the manga.
Right.
Like he's much more like gangly and like his fur's more like wisped out. Like it's not like because 3D they can't have that or else it's gonna look really bizarre.
This is a strange way of putting the title in the background. B and like the two columns of every odd numbers on the left and every even number, even letters on the right. It's like what? Beastar. Okay.
I will say one thing. You should look up the season 1 intro.
All right.
Like you won't be able to play it on stream, obviously.
It's a banger.
Yes, it's a really good, and even just the animation they use for the they use all stop motion animation for it.
Why didn't they do that for the show? That would have been better.
All right.
So yeah, it's a really good opening.
All right. So here is John Doe, the average Joe. He gave me a tip, so thank you, sir. Say what you want of Beastars designs, but at least it's better than Satan Academy or Satan Academy, a less serious rom-com anime where female animals are shown as humans with animal traits and males are designed like Beastar characters. The show doesn't acknowledge this.
Yeah, it's that one where like the left got really butthurt because the males are all like beastmen, like the stereotypical like beastmen, and then the females are all just girls with animal ears.
Yeah,
and they got very butthurt at the internet. The left internet got very butthurt at that because like this is how you don't draw female and male species. You don't have sexual dimorphism. They have to look exactly alike. It's like, okay, no.
But when you have like multiple species that are all humanoid, rabbits,
yeah, it's all the males look like the animals. Yeah. Like, but just like, like a Beastman version of them. The females are all just human women with the animal ears and like the tail.
Well, I mean, if there's a good storyline in there, I might read the manga and check it out. If I like the manga, I might watch the anime. But I'm reading and watching so much these days that it has to really like be punchy and fun,
Oh yeah, no, I completely understand.
Yeah.
This manga cover for Volume 2 is really pissing me off. It's like BB, that E is cut off, so it looks like another B, so it's like BBS, like BF, BF, be faster.
Be faster.
Like, it already has the full title right by his head. Why not just cut the big letters out and then put the story and art by Haruhi Takagi under the Volume 2? Like, it'd be so much cleaner, it'd be so much easier to read, and it'd be less confusing. But, yeah. I might pick this story up. Like, this certainly caught my interest.
Well, guys, that was our Monday manga madness, anime craziness times. Thank you, as always. It's fun. That was not a bad video. It was a lot more watchable than I thought. I thought I was going to stop halfway, but it ended up being different topics, so he wasn't just focused on the one theme, which is...
Well, because he actually started talking about the show to an extent, as opposed to just his made-up nonsense of what he thought was the show.
I don't mind people having a personal take. It's like, well, when I was young and this happened, made me think of this. Like, that's not helping your argument, sir. You're just making shit up. I need to be focused on the narrative, not what happened in your past. So, anyway, thanks for the suggestion, guys. Keep them coming. I'm going to be busy with another video from a patron I'll be working on today and tomorrow, as well as waiting on Wednesday, Thursday for the next and last, hopefully, episode of Season 2 of Picard, and I can get on with my life. I think the last episode drained me of sanity for at least the weekend, so I was like, can't do anything. Reasonable.
I stopped after Season 1, Episode 2. That entire thing just killed me, so I can't believe that you're still going.
I stopped analyzing it after season 1, Episode 3. I think I started on my channel. I can't remember how far I went. And I just said, yeah, this is silly. Like, it's not even worth looking at. With Season 2, the premise was good enough. It's like, it's just simple enough. We can work with that. And then it just kept getting convoluted, and then it just kept being detached from itself. Like,
you know what I love is a failed gubernatorial candidate who claimed for, a year and a half after she lost her governor race here in Georgia that she was the true governor of Georgia as the president of the world. Yeah, that woman, Stacey Abrams, that's who that was in Star Trek. Or in Picard. Or was it Discovery? I can't remember.
Might have been Discovery. Yeah, I don't remember that. No, it's just a mess. It's so bad. It was every scene is disconnected. Like, I'm talking about like bad experience. I don't know if you guys have like the top few movies or shows you watch that are so bad you just cannot believe they exist. Like, that was the second worst thing I saw in my life out of media, of how atrocious that was composed. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it. We're good.
Oh, what was the worst one? Don't leave us hanging.
Mass Effect 3, the ending. That is.
Mass Effect 3, the ending.
Just Mass Effect 3, the ending, without hesitation.
No, it's too much. It's the culmination of we're talking a video game series. We're talking about 50-hour games times 3, where your choices matter. And compare that to the Star Wars sequels, right? That's like what, 5 hours, 6 hours? A little bit of content here and there. They're pretty bad, but nothing in comparison to what happened in Mass Effect 3 and the logic.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see how Dragon Age 4 just even completely just absolutely ruins the series as a whole.
More than Inquisition did?
Well, no, because Dragon Age is sort of sequential. There is continuity, but it's just sort of disconnected. It's there, so they can do whatever they want. The next one. The problem is the team and the nature of BioWare is all different.
The thing is, they can, it's sequential, but it's also following up on what came before. So, like, the Mage and Templar War being started by Anders because he's an idiot.
Yeah, there's dumb moments, but at least it's like the same thing. Plus, you have that, like, what was it, Dragon Age Keep, where you could just say, okay, this is what happened. That's fine. I don't care about that. This is the the way they make games, the way they write games, the way they do all this branching paths, whatever, this is a completely different team doing the fourth game. We have no idea what they're going to do. They downsized years and years ago. They made 2 bombs in the past 8 years or 4 or 5 years. It's not looking good. So I don't have much hopes for it, but
yeah, I'm surprised that EA hasn't just closed down BioWare at this point.
I don't know.
It's still irrelevant.
They made money from Inquisition, so
somehow,
and they're still making money from the Old Republic, so that's at least something, I think. So I don't know. I really can't say. Anyway, I don't want to get into a bashing BioWare end of this video. Have yourself a great evening. Take it easy, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.